What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. We are making the turn on this week of ours. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. Appreciate you tuning in. If it's on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com, WYYradio.com. We got a couple website addresses there. App, download it, take it on the go. You've got your smart devices like your Alexa devices. And, of course, Man Cave TV, YouTube video stream up and rolling here this morning. All right, what do we have on our game plan? What are we going to be hitting up? Well, we don't have a Brewers game to recap because it got rained out yesterday. So that will be made up as part of a doubleheader on July 7th. So no doubleheader today. In case you just assumed it was going to be. No doubleheader today. Going to have to wait till July 7th for that doubleheader. So essentially what we talked about yesterday, it's going to be kind of the same here today. All right, but it's a getaway day here for the Brewers before they return home to begin a weekend series against the Yankees. It'll be 12:15 first pitch here for the Crew. Probable starters for the Brewers. Still looks like it's going to be Brandon Sproul-Palantine going over there for the Cardinals. I was thinking the Reds for some reason. Thinking about this Reds and Cubs series, and the Cubs can't lose at Wrigley apparently anymore. So, but we'll dabble into some baseball chat here this morning as we get set for this series finale, going up against the. The Brewers going up against the Cardinals this afternoon. So we're going to kind of have a mix of different topics and such because, well, for one, today is an Inside the Hobby Wednesday. So Ty from Slab Factory will be stopping by again around 8 o'clock this morning. But that also means it's giveaway day. Giveaway day. So I'm going to tell you right now what we're giving away here and what you have to do, kind of the participation portion of the program, all right? I'm going to double it up here today. So, one, we do have a Paul Molitor card that we're going to be giving away. It is a PSA graded 9, 1988 Fleer Paul Molitor card. All right, a 1988, because one, last week when we were doing the Jackson Cheerio giveaway and such, a lot of you, I think it was, we asked who was your favorite player growing up when you were younger, and Paul Molitor was one of the most, if not the most, nominated or picked person. So I'm like, we got in this bag of goodies that our listener Paul donated, he's got a few Paul Molitor cards in there. We got to give away a Paul Molitor card here. So 1988's Fleer Paul Molitor card. I'm holding it right now so you can hear it or you can see it on the video stream. PSA grade 9. Here's what you got to do if you want to win it. It's pretty darn easy. All right, I like the questions that we could kind of throw out there that everybody has a chance to participate. And this was going to be a no right or wrong answer one. Okay? No right or wrong answer. Your favorite sound in sports. Now, it's just I'm just going to give you some examples. Maybe it's the crack of a bat. Maybe it's the sound of a well-struck golf ball, or the nothing but net in basketball. The shoulder pads of a tackle in football. There's, a baseball hitting the leather of a glove, that snap of that glove, right? What's the best sound in all? Maybe it's the cheering of the crowd. Or when you hit a big shot, it's the silence of the crowd. Something simple. I just want everybody to be able to participate in this, okay? So hit me up. Text it on over to that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We'll open it up throughout the entire program here this morning. And you're all, depending on the order, you all text in or hit us up on the video stream. you're going to be randomly assigned a number, and it'll just randomly pick one. After 10 o'clock, we'll put it into the website, 1 through whatever. So, but trying to think of something that, we could kind of all have an opinion on it or thought on. So, what else do we have on the docket here this morning? Hey, we're going to hear from Taylor Jenkins, new Bucs head coach. Introductory presser this afternoon around 2 o'clock, and there are reports out there, too, that Taylor Jenkins is now one of the highest paid coaches in the association, in the NBA. Steve Kerr's the highest if he continues to decide to coach. Eric Spoelstra is also on that list, but that's one thing that these Bucs owners aren't afraid of, is to open up the checkbook and pay their coaches. But Taylor Jenkins, reportedly one of the top paid coaches now in the association. So, what would you ask Taylor Jenkins today? What would you ask Taylor Jenkins if you were at his introductory presser? And I think we all know the top one, right? I think we all know the top one. What is the status of Giannis? What is the status of Giannis? So maybe try to come up with a slightly different version of it, or a little bit of a different one, or something completely different. What do you want to hear from Taylor Jenkins today if you are a Milwaukee Bucks fan? So we'll have a little fun with that coming your way. Also on the dockets. So we heard yesterday from some position coaches from the Packers. Okay, so we heard a little bit from the defensive side here and such. So, we've got an offseason OTAs and all that. And, on the heels of Green Bay signing a new backup quarterback, or the draft is over with now, Green Bay still could maybe sign a couple of veteran free agents and such. But let me just straight up ask, okay? I know it's May 6th, but right now, when you look at this roster on paper, do you believe in your heart of hearts, okay, your heart of hearts, try to look at this, maybe not from too much of a fanatic or a fanism, so much so where it's like, no, they stink, or no, oh yeah, Super Bowl. Try to look at this roster on paper and answer this question. Do you believe right now that this is a ball club, that this is a team that can compete for a world championship? Or is it just a playoff caliber team? I know there's a lot of other things that factor into this. Believe me, I know, right? There's so much that factors into this. A little bit of luck, a little bit of health. But if you're looking at this and let's say ESPN or somebody reaches out to you and say, hey, we want your thoughts on Green Bay. We want your armchair thoughts. We want your expert input. And you're looking at this roster. Do you truly believe they have done what they have done this offseason? That's the caveat to this thing. What they have done this offseason, and you could factor in new coaches and new players, okay? And maybe the progression or the progress. You could factor in the progress of some of these players. Maybe, a Matthew Golden, or even, Christian Watson, maybe taking another step. Do you truly believe that this is a contending team or just a playoff team? Based off of paper, right? Because that's all we have to do. That's all what we have available to us. What else do we have on the docket here this morning? We'll play a little Am I Wrong? Brought to you by Mike's Star Market. So give me your sports takes and your sports opinions. And honestly, that could kind of fit with our pretender or contender type of topic for the green and gold. But give me some Mike Star Markets, Am I Wrong? Sports takes, sports opinions. Send me your high V game changers for the past week. It could be a move. It could be like a trade, a free agent signing, or an actual play in a game. But give me a game-changing move, or maybe an injury or such. It's like, man, that's a big-time game changer for that ball. Or maybe an addition, Jackson Cherry. And as I mentioned, we'll do a little Inside the Hobby with Ty from Slab Factory coming up at about 8 o'clock. So, hockey fans, the Wild did fall to the Avalanche last night, so they're down 0-2. But NBA playoff-wise, a little bit around here. T-Wolves back in action tonight for Game 2 going up against the San Antonio Spurs. So that's your game plan. We are fully loaded here this morning, and I'm looking forward to a lot of participation points here this morning. So let's get right at it, shall we? We'll take our first break. We'll get things going here this morning on the leadoff. Coming up after these quick words. Whether you are chasing a championship or you're just trying to stay active, your body deserves the best care. And at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, they help athletes and non-athletes alike to get back to doing what they love. From sports injuries and joint pain to everyday aches, their expert team is here with personalized care every single step of the way. So no matter your level of activity, you don't have to sit on the sidelines. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, helping you move better, feel better, and live better. Let's open it up this morning on the leadoff, talking a little Brewers, and obviously, no Brewers game yesterday, so we've got the series finale this afternoon, 12:15 first pitch, and such. But I want to throw this out there too. So I was looking a little bit at the mothership at ESPN and one of their latest pieces that dropped this morning. And Stock Watch, one thing that must change for all MLB teams. And for Brewers fans, I want if I threw out the question to you to say, what is the one thing that has to change for the Brewers? What is it? What is it? And do you agree with what I'm about to say is the pick from the mothership, from ESPN? Okay, so the thing that has to change right now for the Brewers. Their pick, lack of homers. The Brewers are built around athleticism, and that trait continues to pay off in excellent team defense and elite stolen base totals. But this is a team that fell one step shy of a World Series in 2025. To take that final stride and to take down the Dodgers, the Brewers need to hit more home runs. Entering Tuesday's game at St. Louis, which we know was rained out, Milwaukee had 4 homers on the season away from American Family Field. 4. So 4 homers on the road. Getting Christian Yelich and Jackson Chourio healthy will certainly help in this department, but it's just a start. If you add up the homers hit by Milwaukee shortstops, third basemen, left fielders, and center fielders, you can express the answer with an index finger. Garrett Mitchell homered as a center fielder, and that is it. 1 home run from 4 positions. Okay, so I knew that Brewers not good at home runs, but when you put it that way, when you add up the shortstop, third base, left fielder, and center fielder, and you've got a whopping 1, and it's from Garrett Mitchell. Oh, okay. Granted, left fielder, Jackson Chourio would be your everyday starting left fielder, and you just joined, so obviously that's going to be skewed there a little bit, but holy moly. Okay. And I guess the other part in this, where are you in terms of, because there is a debate that I've seen and we've heard. Is it uber important for this team, for any Major League Baseball team out there, to be a top home run hitting ball club? We have seen the Brewers, just a few years ago under Craig Counsell and such, be a heavy home run hitting team. The problem was they couldn't do anything else. And now they play small ball and they can do a lot of things, but now they can't hit the home run ball. It feels like there hasn't just been that happy medium. That in between. It's either to the extreme on one side or the other. And when you look at teams who are leading in home runs this year, it's the Yankees, the only team at 60 or higher. They're right at 60. The Braves, the Reds, Cubs, Dodgers. You're talking about division leaders or near to the top. Reds obviously chasing the Cubs and such, but they were a playoff team last year. So, and then just to kind of put it in comparison, Milwaukee is second to last, 23 total home runs this year. And you're talking about, what was the other stat? 4 on the road? Brewers, 4 homers on the season on the road. Is the Brewers' style, I guess another way to ask this, is the Brewers' offensive style good enough in the regular season, can win you a lot of games in the regular season? But when it comes to the postseason, you need to be able to hit that home run ball. Are the Brewers, do they have the recipe for success when it comes to the regular season, but that recipe maybe doesn't work in the postseason? I had saved this graphic it was back on May 4th from Fox Sports. And they posted, so this, again, going back to May 4th, but every Major League Baseball team's overall record from 10 seasons ago to today, which was May 4th. The Dodgers were number one. Okay, 1,034 wins, 636 losses, a 619 winning percentage. Houston, number two, 963 wins. The Yankees were three. The Guardians were four. The Brewers were number five, a 546 winning percentage, 865, 7-18 record. And Atlanta was six. Tampa Bay, 7. Boston, 8. Cubs, 9. Cardinals, 10. So you got 3 NL Central teams in the top 10. The Brewers with the best record. However, remember, these are overall records, regular season and postseason. So I should note that it's regular season and postseason records. But however, there's one thing that is, to me, pretty glaring compared to the other teams, from comparing the Brewers to the other teams in that scenario. And this is where I kind of bring up the home run and the offensive philosophy. Is it something that can work in the postseason? And it was brought up last year during the Brewers' run in the postseason, right? I mean, it was brought up then. But this is, you look at these teams that are in, let's just focus the top 10, right? Every team in the last 10 years, besides the Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals, have at least made a post or a World Series appearance. Now, the Cardinals just missed it because the Cardinals did make the World Series in 2013. So that was the last time the Cardinals made the World Series. So it's not within that 10-year frame, but it's just on the outside. So even if you want to expand it to the last 15 years, whatever, of those teams that have all those wins, the top 10 for most wins in the regular season and the postseason, if you expand it to kind of fit our narrative, I guess, if you want, the last 12, 13 years, going back to 2013, of those teams, the top 10 teams, all of them, besides the Brewers, have at least made a World Series. Cleveland made a World Series, lost to the Cubbies. Yankees, we know, have made World Series, although they haven't won one. Houston won a couple. Dodgers have won 3. Atlanta's won 1. Tampa Bay, you go back, Tampa Bay was back in the World Series in 2020. Obviously, Boston's got one on there too. So when you look at this offensive philosophy style, for the longest, it's I feel like a lot, and I'm guilty of this too, but we've kind of gone back and forth on it from a Brewer standpoint. When they were hitting a bunch of home runs, what was the narrative? Man, can they play a little bit more small ball? Can they bunt, move runners across? They're doing that now, but now they can't hit home runs. We can't find that happy medium. And I'm not saying I want to see the Brewers, be at the top or anything like that, but do they need to become a little bit more? Do they need to expand their offense a little bit more? Do they need to be a little bit more versatile in that such? Do you know what I mean? Like, would you agree this is the one thing, the main thing, the top thing that the Crew have to be better at if they want to make the postseason and make a deep run? In the postseason? Do you think the Brewers' offensive style right now can win a championship, or at least get to a World Series at this point? Can it compete against teams like a Dodgers? Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts. All right. Got to take a quick break. Back with more baseball coming up after these quick words. Summer is almost here, and that means it is time to hit the road in something that you love. And at Toyson Ford, you will find a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles ready for every adventure. Looking for power, looking for comfort, or how about reliability? Hey, they've got it, all backed by a team that's committed to making your car buying experience easy and stress-free. So whether it's a weekend getaway or your daily drive, make sure that you're riding in style this summer. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls, where your next journey begins. We got a couple texts to get to here. Ben says that he believes that the Brewers do have to hit more home runs, not necessarily how they were a few years ago where they couldn't play a little small ball, but I still feel like this team is a couple of power bats away from being legit World Series contenders and to overtake the Dodgers. Another texter says, team definitely needs to hit more home runs. They don't need to be top 5 or maybe even top 10, but maybe somewhere in the middle of the pack to at least a little respectable. Only having one home run between those 4 positions is pretty pathetic. So, and we'll see, with maybe that you would assume with Jackson Chourio back in the lineup and such that would all, change and then those numbers would be improved and such. But, last year before the season began, we were kind of looking at a guy like Garrett Mitchell being the guy to maybe replace some of that power that was left behind when Willy Adames left. It was Garrett Mitchell kind of being crowned as maybe that guy that was going to provide that power. And you look at his you look at a little bit of his numbers from 2024. And in 69 games, he hit 8 home runs, 21 RBIs, 25 walks on there too, 50 hits. But he was kind of the guy because we saw, maybe getting inserted in that 3 spot. We've seen it at different times here this year. And obviously last year he got hurt, only played in 25 games, didn't hit a home run in those 25 games. And so far in 32 games this year, he's just got that 1 home run. And he's had some big hits. I don't want to diminish what he's done and that sort of thing. He's had some clutch hits in that, but it almost feels like, too, they're trying to find that spot in the lineup for Garrett Mitchell. Like, is he a top? Is he a leadoff guy? Is he a middle of the order? Like, where do you put him? And maybe it's kind of overblown and such after the one time through in that, but, where does he fit within this lineup? Contreras is going to be the top of the order. Chourio is going to be up there. Terang is going to be up there. But where does a guy like Garrett Mitchell kind of fit in at this point? And, you look back at that 2024 season, too, for Garrett Mitchell. These were some of the numbers that he put up in 69 games in that regular season. We mentioned the home runs. We mentioned the RBIs. He had 11 stolen bases as well. He hit 255. He had an on-base of a 342. He slugged 469 and an OPS of an 812. This year, if we just kind of compare it so far, in 32 games, so less than half, a little less than half, he's got 21 RBIs, so that matches that. He has, as we mentioned, been kind of a clutch hitter in those situations and such. Just the 1 home run, 5 stolen bases. He's taken 21 walks, but he's hitting 219, which is the average is lower. The on base is higher. He's 364 compared to 342. His slugging, though, is down compared to 2024, where he was a 469, and this year is a 333. And his OPS is down. In that 2024 season was 812 compared to a 698 right now. How would you kind of assess the performance so far from Garrett Mitchell this year? And I know next week is kind of our first quarter grades and such once we get into the first quarter or complete the first quarter of the season for the Brewers numbers-wise and such. But kind of looking at Garrett Mitchell, so far this year. One, he's been healthy, right? He's been able to stay on the field. That's been the biggest issue. It's what we brought up how many times before the season began. Can the guy just stay healthy? Can he be available? Can he be out there playing? Well, he has been. But how would you assess his play so far this year? I mean, his wins above replacement, his WAR is just a 0.1. Again, 2024, he was a 2.1. And I keep bringing up 2024 because what we saw in just those 69 games, there was this enthusiasm. There was this expectation of him to have this, 2025. There was a lot on his shoulders. I go back to the beginning of the year when MLB.com, MLB Network does these, they call them the Shredder rankings. And they come out with the top 10 at each position. And before the season began in 2025, Garrett Mitchell was already, based off their analytics and data, they listed him a top 10 center fielder in all of Major League Baseball. And it was like, oh, okay. A little shocking, but it kind of added to the narrative that Garrett Mitchell is going to be the guy that kind of helps replace Willy Adames with the power and such. 2025, gets hurt and only plays 25 games. And so far, he's already surpassed that this year compared to last year. But did we put too much expectation on Garrett Mitchell? Did we put too much? And I know it's incredibly early yet, so I don't want to say it's flamed out or anything like that, but is that part of it, that we maybe put a little too much of that expectation on him based off of what he did in 69 games in the 2024 season? So do you believe that Garrett Mitchell, or actually, do you believe that the Brewers need that's the one big thing they've got to get better at? According to ESPN, their main thing that they got to get better at is home runs. Yay or nay? Couple things. We got Jeremy. So a question I threw out there that I want to get to probably in the next hour. When we get to a little football talk is when you look at it on paper, because that's all we could do right now on May 6th. Okay. But essentially, rosters are probably 95 to 98% complete. Maybe you get a veteran signing here or there. But free agency is still open, but the major waves have gone through. You still got some veterans out there that can sign one-year deals and that. Draft is over, getting set for OTAs and that. So based off of paper, let me ask you, Packers fans, do you truly believe, and we can't forecast injuries and that sort of thing, we could base it off of what we maybe expected, projection and improvement from players and such, but do you truly believe, when you look at it from paper, on paper, this roster, that they are a contender for the Super Bowl? Not just playoffs, but a contender for the Super Bowl. If we use the Super Bowl as the basis here, the baseline, are they a contender for that, or are they a pretender for that? And pretender could simply mean just as they're a playoff team, but that's it. Setting the bar high on this because I think that's fair. That it's Super Bowl. Jeremy says on paper, where nobody can get injured, yes, I do believe they have enough to compete for and win a Super Bowl. The projected starters have potential. Also, since it is Inside the Hobby Wednesday, giving away another card. If you are a Paul Molitor fan, which apparently last week, there are a lot of you that were Paul Molitor fans or are Paul Molitor fans. We've got a 1988 Fleer glossy graded PSA 9 card to give away. It's simple. Again, I like the simple questions and get everybody to chime in. What's your favorite sound in sports? Could be the crack of the bat. Could be a well-struck golf ball. Could be the net of a basket when you drain that three and it's nothing but net. Could be the roar of the crowd. Could be the shoulder pads when you make a tackle. Or, as Brandon from New Auburn says, my favorite sound in baseball was a voice, one that I miss dearly. Get up, get out of here, gone. The late, great Bob Uecker. That is another one. Good pull, Brandon. Good pull. So if you want to enter a chance to win this card, all you got to do is text in your favorite sound or hit us up on the video chat too. All right, Man Cave TV. That's it. That's simple. All right, we got to take a quick break as we start to wrap up the first quarter already. We'll be right back after these quick words. During the month of May, every Wednesday during the month of May, our friends at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire, they're pouring out some free coffee for veterans and active military. So that's happening at the Hy-Vee Market Grill. So if you, again, are an active military member or veteran and you want a good old cup of coffee, head on over to our good friends at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. All right, every Wednesday in the month of May. So big thanks to our friends at Hy-Vee for doing that. So we got a couple more best sounds. Jim in Durant says the best sound is Wayne Larravee's calling a Packer touchdown, especially if the pass in the air is in the air a while and he uses the word rainbow. I could play that in my head too. Randy texting in saying favorite sound, crack of the wood bat at a baseball game, or the whoosh whoosh of my daughter and her horse running barrels at a horse show. All right, that's a good one too. I like it. C-Bomb, my favorite sound bites of all time was Jim Irwin, the Vince Lombardi Trophy is coming home. So I did not expect when I threw that out there to best sound of sports and such, but for sound bites and that. But I like where you guys are going with this. So it could be sound bites or just sound in sports. Tim in the Cooley region saying hard to argue with the late great Bob Uecker calling a game for best sound. Second, the drop of a golf ball in the cup. What else do we got out there? Make your picks. Every pick is eligible to potentially win this Paul Molitor card. You could text it to us on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Or again, you can make your picks by hitting us up on the chat room, the Section 105 chats on our YouTube stream. So, do you, again, kind of what we've been talking about in the first hour here, do you subscribe to the theory, to the narrative that the Brewers need to hit more home runs to be a successful team, or to maybe be successful in the postseason and get to the World Series? Is that the thing right now that's holding this team back? Current team. All right, the current team. This 2026 Brewers team is the main thing that's holding them back from reaching a World Series, the lack of home runs. Is that the thing? What do you think? Or is it something else? Is that the one thing? Is that the thing they need to be better at, more consistent at, if they want to compete or maybe take down the Dodgers of Los Angeles? If that's the benchmark we are using. Yay or nay? Your thoughts. Hit me up, okay? Also, send me your Hy-Vee game changers for the week. Again, that could be a trade. That could be a free agent signing. That could be an injury. That could be a play or a player. It's pretty open-ended. All right, so for the past week, give me your Hy-Vee game changers. Also, a Mike's Star Market. Am I wrong? So, hey, you could do a 2-for-1. 2 birds, 1 stone. Am I wrong for saying that the Brewers, if the Brewers were a top 10 home run hitting team, they would be a World Series champion this year? Just kind of throwing something out there as an example. So hit me up, best ones. I'll read up on the air. Coming up next hour, I do want to talk a little football with the Green Bay stuff that I threw out there, but I also want to hit up the cornerbacks on this thing, because there is kind of going back to something that Jonathan Gannon talked about in his introductory presser regarding the cornerback room and such. So it's some numbers surrounding Keyshawn Nixon that I want to throw out there for your consideration too. So also, new Bucs head coach Taylor Jenkins is going to chat with the media this afternoon in his introductory press conference. If you could ask Taylor one thing, what would it be? We like to play that game once in a while, and obviously I think we all know that one of the biggest questions, and probably the first, if it's not first, it'll be in the top 2 or 3, is Giannis coming back? Have you talked to Giannis? Right? That's probably going to be at the forefront of every media member who's going to be at that presser. They're probably going to want to ask that question right away. So, is there a different version of that, or is there a different question that you would ask? So, another Brandon here says, I would see if Jenkins has any say in the roster and try to bring in his style and players that fit that style. Eli says, am I wrong to say the Brewers farm system is the best out of all farm systems? No, I don't think you're wrong at all, Eli. And I think a lot of the rankings out there would probably agree with you too. So Mark says, best sound? Settling into a seat at Lambeau or American Family Field and a vendor comes by. Beer here. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one, Mark. Well done. Well done for our buddy Mark. I like that one. Keep those coming. All right. Keep them coming. Everybody who sends over your favorite sound gets entered in to win this PSA graded number 9, 1988's Fleer Paul Molitor card. I like it. See, when we get on topics like that and we can have answers like that, that's awesome. So, but we will talk with Jordan, too, from Slab Factory coming up a little over an hour, about an hour from now for our Inside the Hobby segment, too. So, but we'll maybe get his thoughts on some of those questions on over there. A couple more here quick before the top of the hour. Steve says, I do agree that the Brewers need to hit more home runs this year. It has been a problem the last few years. They seem to be either a very good home run hitting team and not a base hitting team, or how they are right now, a really good base hitting team and getting on base, but no power. They need that happy medium. Kevin says, definitely would like to see the Brewers hit some more home runs, not necessarily top 5, but if they could just be respectable at the plate and teams respecting their power, I think could go a long ways for this team's playoff success. So, all right. Honestly, yeah, they got to figure out that happy medium. They got to figure that part out. So, all right, we'll wrap it up with Morgs. Good morning, Morgs.
Hey, how's it going? I like your new Squatch hoodie.
Thank you.
That's pretty fancy. So, what was speaking of false narratives like the Yeti? It's a Wild Card Wednesday, so we have a question for you. Although that was a mighty good eye roll I got just there. I know you're a believer. What was the last time you were truly scared? Like if you ran into a Bigfoot, would you be scared?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. What was the last thing that really scared you legit the last time you were really scared?
Honestly, oh gosh. I'll tell you one thing that it creeps me out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll have a nightmare. It just kind of creeps me out.
Yeah.
Like you wake up sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like you just walk in the woods in the dark.
Yeah. Because everything flashes through your head from every scary thing you've ever seen in your
Unsolved
life.
Mysteries. There's a certain episode that flashes in my mind from Robert Stack's days.
Yep. When you halfway expect him in a trench coat to come out from the side and a fog machine behind him.
There was an episode about a deer hunter with a ghost following out their / whatever I think all the time.
So that's in your mind?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No matter how adult you try to be when the lights are off, no doubt your brain turns on and all you can think of is every scary thing that you've ever seen on a reel.
Yep.
Okay, pick a number between 1 and 15.
We'll go 2.
A tradition that you would like to pass down. Do you have any traditions, unique traditions?
I mean, can I just say like hunting? You know, Hudson kind of starting to get into that.
You can say whatever you want. It's your tradition.
I'll do that.
Do you have a deer camp tradition? Like a lot of people, that is it. It's a family thing.
It's more of a family. It's more of a food thing, honestly.
So, like, what's the deer menu?
So, Saturday nights is always grandma's hamburger steak, mashed potatoes, and peas with gravy.
Okay. Fueling up.
Sunday's homemade pizza.
Okay.
So, those are our
And
top
there's
2.
a system for the homemade pizza. Do you make it the same way every year?
Yep.
What's on it?
Oh, grandma makes it, so I can't.
Oh, great. It's grandma's homemade. Seems like she's doing a lot of work for your deer camp over there.
Hey, I bring in the meat, okay?
Do you, though?
I do, actually.
Unless you're scared in the woods and it's dark out then.
Yeah. Might
All
be
bets
not
are
deer meat, though.
Gonna be starving.
Thanks, Marks.
Anytime.
1 in, 3 more to go. We'll be right back. Hour 2 kicks off right now. What up, everybody? Happy Wednesday, making the turn. We are almost to the weekend. Take a deep breath. We're almost there, baby. First hour, we talked a lot of baseball. No Brewers game yesterday because of a rain delay. So they will make that game up as part of a doubleheader on July 7th. Not today, but on July 7th. So today we'll wrap up the series between the Brewers and the Cardinals. You've got Brandon Sproat, still the probable pitcher. That game will be at 12:15. So what else do we got on here? We're going to talk some Inside the Hobby coming up in an hour from now with Jordan from Slab Factory. If you're just joining in and making us a part of your start here this morning, where the heck have you been? Get out of bed. But we're asking, what's your favorite sound in the sports world? It could be a lot of you chiming in with sound bites. It could be crack of the bat, that sort of stuff. And if you just text it to me on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line or hit me up on the Section 105 chat on YouTube, you're automatically going to be entered to win this PSA graded number 9, 1988 Fleer Paul Molitor card. You can hear it in the case video right there. So still taking your entries all the way till 10 o'clock. All right, so have a little fun with that. Also, Taylor Jenkins, new Bucs head coach. Taylor Jenkins is going to be introduced this afternoon. What would you ask him if you were a part of the media scrum? If you were a part of the media scrum, what would you ask Taylor Jenkins today? We'll get back to more baseball talk coming up here in a little bit. I know we'll talk a little hockey, too. The Wild did fall to the Avalanche last night, so they are down 0-2 in their series. The T-Wolves are back at it tonight in the NBA playoffs. They're looking to be taking a 2-0 lead against the Spurs. So we'll hit that up coming up here, too. So, but I want to kick off this hour, switching gears here for just a skosh. All right, just a little bit. But football stuff, okay? So, draft's over with. Main free agency's over with. Might still see, a couple veterans signed. I would say like 95%, maybe even a little bit higher, of the roster is constructed here for Green Bay for a lot of teams, okay? So, just looking at it on paper, 'cause that's all we can do right now. That's all we can do at this point in time. Do you believe, and I'm going to set the bar at Super Bowl when I say this. The bar is Super Bowl. The minimum is Super Bowl. Are they a contender or are they a pretender for the Super Bowl based off of the roster that is currently constructed? Because we don't know injuries. We don't know all that stuff. Yay or nay? Play a little pretender contender here. But Jonathan Gannon, going back to his presser from, a couple days ago and such, he was asked about the cornerback room. Okay, he was he was asked a lot of questions because this was the first time that he talked to the media and such. And he mentioned that he did like the room. Talked about how they added some guys and such, but honestly too was a little non-committed about the starters and such. Not really, didn't say, yep, these are my starters, with Keyshawn Nixon or Carrington Valentine or Brandon Cisse or any of those guys. Kind of an open competition and such. And let me bring up the exact quotes that he had to say about the cornerback. Yeah, okay. So this was from Matt Schneidman in his piece from The Athletic. Gannon isn't declaring Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine his top two cornerbacks just yet, at least not publicly. Goody offered votes of confidence for both this offseason after what looked like a rocky second half of last season. He also added veteran Benjamin St-Juste, second-round pick Brandon Cisse, and sixth-round pick Dominique Jackson to the room. Gannon, quote, saying, I love where the room is right now. Obviously, we acquired two new guys in the draft, and I think that'll be good competition. But everybody right now is kind of competing for their role right now. Roles are not defined by any means. Good. Because, in my opinion, there is no clear-cut number one corner on this team. And these are some of the numbers from Keyshawn Nixon. And got to give credit to where credit is due. Ross Uglum from Packer Report. Okay. Keyshawn Nixon on third and fourth down over the last two seasons. He was targeted 73 times, 45 catches allowed, in addition to a whopping 10 penalties, gave up 30 first downs, only one interception. Quarterback ratings going up against him on those downs, 97.3. Pro Football Focus gave him a coverage grade of a 48.8. Those crucial, or money downs if you want to call them, third and fourth. Keyshawn, not great numbers. And I'm sure a lot of you right now, Packers fans wise, you're probably thinking back to last year, like, oh yeah, I could think of a couple plays on third and down. I know I can. It's kind of like replaying in my mind. So I hope there is an open competition when it comes to the cornerback room. Because gosh darn it, there is no clear-cut number one. I'm sorry, but there's not. And kind of going to this whole contender, pretender sort of thing, if I had to say one area of concern for me, it's probably that corner. Yeah, they drafted a couple, Brand Cisse and such, but not knowing who the number one corner is, that gives me a little bit of concern. But let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. All right. Before we take a break, Tim in the Cooley region has another one. Al Michaels' Monday night call for Packers-Vikings game and the Antonio Freeman catch. He did what? Or do you believe in miracles? Yes, for the 1980 Miracle on Ice. All right. I want to talk more about this football stuff in green and gold, but continue to send me those. Best sound in sport. It could be sound bites or just a sound. Baseball bat, hitting the baseball in the leather of a glove, basketball, all that stuff. All right. Send those on over. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. When it comes to quality meat in Eau Claire, there's one name that locals trust, and that's Mike's Star Market. From hand-cut steaks and fresh ground beef to homemade brats and specialty items, everything is prepared with care and packed with flavor. Are you planning a cookout, or maybe you're just filling the freezer, or just looking for something better for dinner tonight? Hey, Mike's Star Market has you covered, so stop on in today and taste the difference. Mike's Star Market, your hometown butcher shop in Eau Claire. Don't forget about BBQ Fest happening next week, next Friday, next Saturday. Going to be over there for a couple hours with our friends from Mike's Star Market at the Northern Wisconsin State Fairgrounds for a little barbecue fest. So we'll bring the mobile man cave over there too, and we might have some Brewers tickets to be given away too if you stop by and say hi. So just kind of put that in the back of your mind there. But the best sounds in all of sports, we've got Hetch saying the greatest sound in the world is the swish of a basketball net. Nothing but net, man. I used to have when I was a kid, McDonald's had these hats that had nothing but net on there. And it had like that turquoise blue and black. Gosh, I wish I still had that thing. So, hey, I'm going to add a little bit more to this. First of all, we got Surveyor saying the best sound in sports is another one for Euchre. Get up, get out of here, gone. Nothing will put a smile on a fan's face. And that call, as far as sounds, the ball dropping and hitting the bottom of the cup in golf is pretty hard to beat, but a close second is the first cracking of pads in early August. You know fall is around the corner. Steve from Eau Claire says the crack of a 250-yard drive from a wooden driver. I am going to add a little bit more to this if you want to add into to the to win this card and such, because it just popped up on my Facebook. Memories, 2003, May 6th. Yours truly hit a hole-in-one in a tournament. So, what is your greatest athletic achievement from your playing days? All right, share it with the rest of us, people. Whether it was high school, middle school, college, maybe you went pro, maybe you're a weekend warrior from a slow-pitch softball tournament or a volleyball tournament. I don't care. What are some of your greatest individual achievements in any level of sports? Rec, high school, pro, whatever, college, I don't care. Just share it with the rest of us. Like C-Bomb, he can't stop bragging about winning Class D state MVP in slow pitch softball. Like, that's probably C-Bomb's. I don't know if C-Bomb's listening, but that's probably his greatest one. So, what do you got? Levi, he's got the crack of a bat. I think, yeah, man, that to me it's really hard for me to pick. But I got to say, there's something about catching just a fastball, not too fast, but just a solid throw of a baseball in that leather. Like that, you know what I'm like, that oh. Nothing but net, though. That's on there, too. A pure struck golf ball off the first tee. Oh, yeah. There's some good ones there. Josh says, undefeated 8th grade football season, best time and feeling ever. We got Surveyor saying, greatest achievement, making all Minnesota U22's team and making honorable mention All-American in rugby. And Evil Surveyor coming in right after Surveyor saying, biggest athletic accomplishment is the complete domination of Surveyor Sam at ping pong. It's embarrassing, Surveyor. How dare you? But, all right. Come on. Send those on in, baby. Keep sending them on in. Text them 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. Or join us on the Section 105 chat room. All right. And continue to send me your thoughts on the Brewers topic that we had in the first hour about the home run ball. Is that the biggest concern or need to be addressed area that has to be fixed when it comes to the Brewers? Is that home run ball? So, but back to a little bit of football. A couple of you had mentioned I'm not ready to say they're full-on contenders because of the cornerback room. Just too much of an uncertain with Brandon Cisse and St. Juiced. Another texter Travis says, I do believe that they are a contender. I feel with the depth and pass rush, it'll help those corners out. Another texter, don't have a name, can't give you any credit. I feel like Jonathan Gannon's going to play more 3 safeties, and I think that's going to help with the corners on the outside. So I do feel like the green and gold are contenders. So Surveyor says, true, very true. I'm pretty sure Balls of Fury was made after Evil Surveyor's life. Nice. Good movie, Paul. I have not seen that one in a long time, but solid movie, Paul. But going back to the Green Bay thing, based off of paper right now, do you feel like they're contenders? Do you feel like, and I'm setting the bar at Super Bowl, based off of how they've constructed this team this offseason, and I think it's fair to say they're about 95, 97% complete. What we see right now, maybe in terms of the depth chart of the top 53, we pretty much have a good idea. Maybe they sign another veteran. That's definitely possible. But we got a good idea of what this depth chart looks like right now for the Packers. So based off paper and based off your opinion, do you feel like this is a good enough roster to go to the Super Bowl? I mean, if you look at it from an offensive standpoint, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Tucker Kraft. Those are your starters, if you will, if you go to a 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end set. Your offensive line, Jordan Morgan, Aaron Banks, Sean Ryan, Anthony Belton, Zach Tom. Defensively, you're probably looking at, let's say, Devontae Wyatt, Hargrave, maybe Carl Brooks, maybe the rookie McClellan mixed in there. Van Ness, Micah Parsons, Edrin Cooper, Franklin. Corners, a combination of Keyshawn and Carrington and St. Just and Brandon Cisse. Nickel, I'll throw a nickel corner into this thing. Javon Bullard. Your safeties, Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams. Not to ignore them, but special teams, Trace Mack or Brandon McManus, Daniel Whelan, we're good there. Sky Moore as your returner. Matt Orzech, long snapper. Get some respect for the long snappers. So if that's kind of your starters, and we know Isaiah McDuffie and, Savion Williams and those guys, they're going to have playing time and such too. But based off that depth chart and such, is that a Super Bowl contender or is that a Super Bowl pretender? And if you picked pretender, is it because of what position group? I guess for me, the cornerback room is definitely a concern for me. And I'm glad, and I know this is just all public, and it could be different behind the scenes and such. But the cornerback room is concerning for me, and I'm glad to hear that there is a competition and such. But yeah, I feel like they're a contender. And a lot of it is based off of luck, too. We don't know how it's all going to play out, right? I mean, luck and all that sort of stuff. But I'd probably go contender. I'm trying not to be a homer in this thing. I'm really trying, and I hope you've all known me long enough now to know that I don't play the homer card a lot, or I try not to play the homer card a lot. But you got a game changer on defense. You've got a quarterback. You've got some offensive playmakers. Honestly, probably the 2 biggest question marks I currently have on the roster would be the offensive line depth and the cornerback room. That's kind of where I'm at now. But we've got Steve from Eau Claire, not really a greatest achievement, but here's my most well-known one. When I was in high school, I was manager for our boys basketball team. Senior year, we were playing a team that I thoroughly hated. Won the game on a half-court shot at the buzzer. I pumped my fist in the air to celebrate and dislocated my shoulder. Oh, geez. Trainer sent to the ER because of how severe it was, and they had to put me under while they put it back in place. The doctor said it was one of the worst dislocations he had ever seen and was shocked I didn't tear anything. Needless to say, I was to talk to the school the next couple days after that. So, Jeremy says, I would ask Jenkins, how would he use Turner? Turner was a huge signing last offseason, but he seemed lost this last year. That's a good question, Jeremy. That's a good one. I didn't even think of that. That's a good one. How will Taylor Jenkins use Miles Turner? In case anybody doesn't know, Taylor Jenkins is going to have his introductory press conference here today with the Milwaukee Bucks this afternoon. So it'll be the first time he's introduced. Reports are out there, too, that he is now one of the highest paid coaches in the entire association, the entire NBA. And that's one thing we know is that the Bucks ownership isn't afraid to pay coaches, right? They're not afraid to do that, even if they're no longer on the team. So maybe that's why Jenkins signed up so early, because Orlando is now open too. But that's a good question, Jeremy. I like that one. That's a really good one. All right. What are your Mike Star Markets Am I Wrongs? Give me a sports opinion. Give me a sports take, sports thought where you would say, am I wrong? Also, give me your high V game changers. What was a move? What was a decision? What was a play? What was a player that you would say in the past week was a big-time game changer? I got mine. I'll tell you after the break, though. We got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Sunshine, road trips, and summer adventures are calling. Is your vehicle ready, though? At AGM Automotive in Eau Claire, they'll make sure that you hit the road with confidence. From AC checks and oil changes to brakes and full inspections, AGM Automotive has you covered before the heat kicks in. With 2 convenient Eau Claire locations, expert service is always just around the corner. Don't let your car trouble slow you down for your summer plans. Schedule your appointment today by visiting ajmautomotiveservices.com. AGM Automotive, keeping you cool, safe, and road trip ready all summer long. All right, I'll pick my Hy-Vee game changer for the week. And again, it could be a play, it could be a player, it could be maybe a move like a trade or a signing or anything like that. I'm going to go with my game changer, the return of one Jackson Chourio to this Brewers lineup. That's a game changer, big-time game changer. Now, we've got one game under our belts with this thing, and obviously he performed incredibly well. But, a topic of conversation that we've had this morning, specifically in the first hour and such, has been, the home run ball for the Brewers. And, they're second worst in all of Major League Baseball. And is this something that is holding this team back? You go to ESPN and, they've got that piece, one thing that each team must change, get better at. And for the Brewers, they talk about the lack of homers. And you look at this little nugget here. If you add up the homers hit by the Brewers shortstops, third basemen, left fielders, and center fielders, you can express the answer with an index finger. 1. It was Garrett Mitchell. Sal Frelick has more than all those guys together. Salvatore, the summer of Sal, for crying out loud. I knew that it had to be low, but when you make that case, oh, goodness gracious. Now, the return of Jackson Chourio in center or in left field is hopefully going to change that. That's the assumption, and that's why he's my Hy-Vee game changer for the week. Adding him to the lineup is going to be a much-needed boost. We talked about how hard that ball or how fast that ball was coming off his bats in the game the other day. Now, if that could turn into some power, into some home runs, all right, now we're cooking with peanut oil. But I still think they might need a little bit more than that. Now, could it be when Christian Yelich comes back? Hopefully. Hopefully he can provide a little bit more of the power like he did last year. But is the additions of Chourio and Christian Yelich going to be enough to improve the home run power, improve the home run numbers for the Brewers? Is that enough? I don't. I'm still a little skeptical on it, to be honest with you. I keep going to that left side of the infield. I keep looking at that group. And the thing is, right now, I don't think they've got anything in the minors where you could bring up and say, all right, that's our power guy at third. Not yet. Not Fisher yet. He's with the Timber Rattlers. He ain't ready to do that. You got Brock Wilken in there too, but is he ready to come up and be that power guy? So I think it's way too early to be talking about trades and trade, targets and all that stuff yet at this point in time. Although I know Dave Dabrowski with the Phillies, was it last week, he had mentioned that teams are already calling about trades, and that's been the earliest that he can remember in that. And I think part of it is you look at teams like the Phillies and you look at the Mets, these teams that on paper, it's like, oh, they got a lot of good players, or even Boston in that sense too. They've got some good players that teams would like to acquire. And so they're probably trying to shoot their shot right now to say, hey, we know your seasons aren't going the greatest. Are you already looking to sell and such? So, that's probably where a lot of that is coming from. I don't think you're going to see anything of substance being moved or players being moved at this point in time. So I don't want to get into trade talks and that sort of thing. But, I mean, if the question is Jackson Chourio and Christian Yelich, whenever Christian Yelich returns to the lineup, is that enough in terms of getting the needed power, getting the needed home run ball for this team? I think the other part in this whole thing that would help solve a lot of problems is Andrew Vaughn. Is he going to be able to replicate what he did last year for the Brewers? And now that he's back in the lineup, but on a larger scale or for more games, a bigger sample size, because what he did for last year for the Brewers, 308s, OPS of an 869, slugging 493 for crying out loud, 9 home runs, 46 RBIs in 6 games. And we've seen him be, 2023. He hit 21 home runs, 80 RBIs for the White Sox. 19 home runs the year after that, 17 home runs in 2022. So, I mean, we've seen him at a little bit of power. But, heading into this year, I was maybe a little bit cautious on the Andrew Vaughn hype and talk, because I wanted to see it for a bigger sample size for this year. And I hope that he's a guy that could kind of replicate a lot of the stuff that he did for the Brewers last year. I hope we see that. I want to see that. And if he can be that power guy, all right, here we go. That's another part of the equation. But it's just it's a big old question mark. It's the Riddler and Batman right now. We don't know. But if they can get home run production from Vaughn, from Yelich and Chourio, now that 2 of the 3 are back in that lineup, okay. But I go back to Garrett Mitchell too, and it's like that 2024, before the season started, 2024, all the hype, all the excitement, all the potential that we talked about, gets hurt last year. And so far this year, hey, he's checked one item off the box. The man has stayed healthy. He has been available. He has been in the lineup, and he has hit some crucial RBIs. But the talk was, can he be the guy that fills in for Willy Adames in the power department? And right now, that answer is no. He hasn't been able to be that guy. And I feel like they just are kind of not sure where to maybe put him in the lineup. We've seen him as a leadoff hitter. We've seen him as a cleanup or a 3 in the middle of the order towards the bottom. Like, he's that guy that I don't think that they really know where to put him yet. And it'd be a big boost if he can be that guy that goes out there and it can provide a little bit of power for this ball club. A little bit of pop. At least just have the threat of that. Right? At least just have the threat or the possibility of that. Where you have opposing pitchers at least respecting that. Like, okay, we know that this guy or these guys have a little bit of power. Let's be careful with them at the plate. Because right now, when you look at this Brewers team, who are those guys? It's probably Terang and maybe a little Contreras mixed into there. Bowers he can do it, but consistently. Sanchez has showed it in a little bit of the early days, but from a consistency standpoint, who's that biggest threat for this Brewers team to jack one, to hit it over the fence? Terang. And it's not a knock on Terang, but you probably want a couple more options out there. Continue to send me your favorite sound or the best sound in sports. It could be a sound bite or, again, sound. A lot of you going with the direction of sound bite, which I'll be honest, I did not think about when I threw this out there. But it could be a sound bite. It could be, the crack of a bat, the swish of a net in basketball. If you send me that, I will put you in a drawing for this Paul Molitor graded PSA 9 card. Or I added another one late here. Your favorite, most memorable, your best individual athletic achievements, or a moment, or favorite moment, or favorite achievement, best achievement. Because I didn't realize it was 23 years ago today, till Facebook reminded me, and I've got I got it framed up here in the studio, the newspaper article, my hole-in-one in a tournament, in a high school tournament. Brandon saying, a moment I'll always remember is winning the 14U AAU National Championship. We played at the UNI Dome in Cedar Falls, Iowa. 32 teams from around the country in this tournament. Being a small-town kid, that was big time. I also got my first dunk there, a putback off a missed free throw. 14-2, dude, that's awesome. That is awesome. That's really cool. That's a cool moment. Heck yeah. Thanks for sharing that too. All right. We'll take a quick break as we start to approach halftime here. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we'll catch up with Ty from Slab Factory, do a little inside the hobby chats with him as well. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes. A lot of things going on at the VFW Post 305 this week, so let's get you updated on this thing. So first up, we've got that the VFW Post 305 burger contest coming your way tomorrow, starting at 4 p.m. Come on out and cheer on their kitchen staff as they showcase their creations for a chance of getting their burger listed in the Burger of the Volume 1 magazine Burger Week in June. So that's up there. Coming up on, sorry, I got sidetracked there. That's coming up on Thursday, May 7th at 4 p.m. Also, Mom Day coming up this weekend. Got the Mother's Day buffet Sunday, May 10th from 7 a.m. to noon. You're talking about beef tips, bacon, eggs, ham, pancakes, French toast, breakfast potatoes, fruit, mimosa specials. All moms enter to win a special pampering gift basket as well. So that's happening this Sunday. Take mom, take grandma, take the wife out for a little Mother's Day buffet, 7 a.m. to noon at the VFW Post 305 on Star Avenue. So always something happening at the VFW Post 305, right? Always something happening. Gotta love it. But all right, we got about 8 minutes to the top of the hour here, so we got a couple more texts to get to here. Let's do that. We've got Carl saying, I saw Paul Molitor's first game at the Met. I was laying on top of the dugout when Molly came out. What were you doing laying on top of the dugout? I called his name and asked for his autograph, then threw him a ball. Threw it back. We threw it back and forth 4 or 5 times, and he smiled and said, okay, give me the pen. I still have that signed ball. Is it Streeter? Is that the nickname? Going by Streeter? Greatest sound in sports is the sound of a football hitting the goalpost square when any team but the Packers is kicking. Bonus points if it hits the left upright and the crossbar, and the Bears get eliminated from the playoffs. The double doink. So, but all right. Keep those coming. Text them on over, 715-830-1912. All right. So coming up in just a little bit here, we'll get to Ty from the Slab Factory. Talk a little inside the hobby with him and such. So we'll get to that coming up a little bit later on. But continue to send me your favorite sounds in sports, your favorites, your favorite maybe individual athletic achievements. Trying to think of a way to say that. Your favorite, maybe your best or your best or your favorite individual athletic achievements. All right. Either one of those, I'll enter you in to win this Paul Molitor card. So that'll be coming your way here in, for the next 2 hours. You still have time to send that on over. So I do want to get to a little bit of State of the Cup playoff talk here, as with the Wild falling down 0-2 in this series. We'll kind of hit that up and such, but hoops-wise, as the NBA playoffs continue to roll right along, the Timberwolves are back at it tonight, Game 2. But the Bucks going to be introducing their new head coach, Taylor Jenkins. Taylor Jenkins, what would you ask him if you were a part of the media? All right, the media scrum. We know that the top question is probably going to be centered around Giannis. So what would be kind of a different question, or maybe a different version of the, have you talked to Giannis, or is Giannis coming back? You know, those are probably going to be like the top 2 ones. What would be a different version of that? Or maybe, I might ask something. What would you tell Giannis that would make him want to stay in Milwaukee? What would be kind of like your sales pitch, if you will? If you're Taylor Jenkins and the Bucks want to keep Giannis, what would Taylor Jenkins tell Giannis to kind of sway him? And we don't know truly if he's going to be there or not. He says he wants to, and that's. But Giannis also says as long as they're committed to winning championships, he wants to be there. So, if you're Taylor Jenkins, what would be that message to Giannis? what would be that message to Giannis? All right. I think that's probably what I would ask Jenkins. What else do you got for me? So, also Packers related. We'll probably get back to this maybe a little bit later on and such. But when you look at this roster depth chart, I mean that's all we have to work on right now. But probably about the roster's 98% full, right? Maybe a couple of moves here or there, maybe a veteran signing at some points. But do you, when you look at this roster, this depth chart maybe specifically, and if we use the basis or the base that it's got to be a championship, a Super Bowl championship, is this a team that you truly believe is a Super Bowl contending team? Got to be a bare minimum Super Bowl contention. Do you think they're at that level? Yes or no? I know there's a lot, there's so many extenuating circumstances in this thing, but sitting here on May 6th, essentially, I guess what I'm asking is, in your opinion, how do you feel they did in the offseason? How do you feel like they built this team, this roster? But you can send those on over. Hit me up with a quick text at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. And we'll get to those. Or you can hang out in the Section 105 chat room too. So what is this? This YouTube handle, Clint Eastwood, the best sound in sports is beer here. Hey, that's the second one we've had. That's our good friend Mark texted that one in there. So we've got 2 votes for beer here. Maybe the saddest one is last call. The worst sound in sport, last call. I don't know. But all right, just about a minute or so, a couple minutes left to the top of the hour. So continue to send us on over along with your Hy-Vee game changers. All right. What was a play? What was a player or a move or a decision that you would say, that was a game changer? Mine, just the addition of Jackson Cheerio back in this lineup for the Brewers. To me, that's a game changer. So we'll get to some Mike Star Markets. Am I wrong? Okay. We'll get your opinions. So if you got a sports take, you got a sports opinion, you got a sports thought that you would say, am I wrong? Am I wrong for saying this? Am I wrong for thinking this? Am I wrong for believing this? Sports-wise? Send it on over. I'll get to mine probably towards the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. So, but that's send those on over. I want to hear from you with your takes. So, and honestly, you can kind of relate it to the Brewers with our topic about home runs and such, right? Am I wrong for thinking that the Brewers, need to be a top 5 team in home runs to take down the Dodgers or something like that? But all right, tell you what, let's take out a quick break. We're at the top of the hour here. We're halfway through. We're at halftime. I want to hear more from you. Hit me up on that texting line or on that Section 105 chat room. We'll be right back after these news updates. All right, halftime is over with. We are on to quarter number 3, hour number 3 on this Wednesday morning. Thanks for hanging out and joining in on the conversation with us, whether it's on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912 or on the Section 105 chat on the video stream. It is Wednesday, so we kick off the third hour, the third quarter on this Wednesday, catching up with our good buddy, Ty from Slab Factory. Happy May.
Yeah.
Ty. Happy kind of summer. Not really feeling like that.
I don't know.
We had baseball the last 2 nights.
Yeah.
I mean, layers upon layers and stuff. So
if I have to keep bringing the plants back inside so that they don't freeze, then it's definitely not summer yet.
Right. So, hey, before I got to ask, because we had the boys in last week. How did the coup premiere go? Because they were saying that you were helping out and
yeah,
such.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
What an exceptional documentary.
Yeah.
I know that now there's a way to stream it. I think like if you go to like firesideproductions.com, you still have to like pay for the rental, I think, but it less so than like if you bought the DVD. You can buy the DVD.
Yep.
I got a couple in my car. But boy, what I was blown away. And I'm not like, I like documentaries, but I'm not like, I don't seek them out really. And boy, that was truly exceptional. Way to highlight the like Eau Claire community, the Coupe community. It was so cool. I was really blown away. They got really lucky with following some of the teams that they followed.
Yeah.
Some things just broke their way.
Yeah. Steve and BJ were awesome and such. And I found out, too, inside info, your wife also does a podcast.
She does.
Which they were telling me about, because I used to watch the show as a kid, too. And
yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
yeah, my wife actually has the DVDs of that.
Oh,
So
my gosh.
when he told me that, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to tell my wife about this now, too. So, yeah.
Well, make sure you guys listen. Sarah, so my wife, Sarah, she's like a comedic writer and like just kind of a really fun personality on a podcast. I'm biased, obviously, but I think it's really exceptional. And gosh, they like BJ and Sarah play off of each other so well, and yeah, it's really fun. So yeah, if you like Are You Afraid of the Dark, Nick at Night fans, from the 90s.
Oh yeah,
they are rewatching and talking about it, and it's so fun.
That's
Midnight Society Rejects podcast.
Yes. Yeah. We usually she'll pop in the DVDs around fall, Halloween time and stuff like that too.
Yeah, she needs to listen then because it's really all about like the fans. But I know people who listen just because they think that Sarah and BJ are entertaining too.
That's awesome. So yeah, definitely check it out. So it's also, since we are in May and such, it's garage sale season.
Yeah.
Right. And I know we had a surveyor, Sam, had texted last week saying, hey, heads up, this place has got cards and graded cards, garage sale and that sort of thing. And, you're seeing them pop up all, but it's the season for garage sales. And, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them might have sports cards, and stuff in there. So is there any tips or like how, because I know my kiddo just went to a garage sale and, they were already packs pre-made and such for a couple bucks and that. And he picked one up because it had Jackson Cheerio on the top and such, kind of a basic one over there too. But it probably just depends on maybe like the garage sale if they actually know what they got, sort of thing. But
I would wrap it up into like garage sale and estate sale. Sometimes estate sales have some pretty like big stuff sort of just waiting in the wings because people hold on to their big cards, until the end sometimes. But like when it comes to garage sales, I would say it's more common that you are looking at stuff. I mean, we're so well educated today compared to what we were when we were younger. I mean, if you would have walked garage sales when I was a kid in the late 90s, early 2000s, you'd see a lot of incredibly valuable Pokemon cards flying off into the night, at these garage sales, including my own, by the way. I specifically remember having my binder of Pokemon cards sitting next to like my friends who had a lemonade stand in our backyard facing the street and selling Pokemon cards alongside, the lemonade stand. And I'm sure I had some wonderful stuff that I'd love to have today. But anyway, so I think the treasures are probably a little bit more few and far between. But like the one you mentioned, like, for example, someone wrote in about one in the West Side, neighborhood off of Platte. I've been to that one. I used to live over there, and it's got some good old baseball. And I'm not remembering for sure if there was a lot more. but like baseball for sure. I remember I picked up a pretty cool Barry Bonds rookie, you know, and not worth a ton, but really cool. And I think that the guy there is pretty fairly priced. I'd say garage sales in general, be careful. Some people, I think I mentioned this last time, sometimes you walk into an antique shop or something and they have a $5 Jordan labeled for $200 because they don't know what they have. But,
right.
Always just, exercise caution. Ask your friends who know a thing or two about those sports cards if what you're paying is a legit number.
Right. So, one question I know I got something, but I want to go back to PSA grade because there was a conversation I was actually having with Hudson, my 9-year-old. He's like, Dad, I want to get some PSA graded and such. And you guys talk about, at Slab Factory education and helping out kiddos and such. So if a kiddo would have or comes into your shop and such, said, I don't know if I'm phrasing this the right way. Is it worth it to grade this card?
Oh, that is, I get that question all the time. That's a great way to ask that question.
Okay.
Because the worth is really tied to the first question, why do you want it graded? So if you want it graded because you like it and you want to see it slabbed up, then the answer is always yes. But if they're asking me that question, it's probably because they want to get extra value out of it, right? So like then the question becomes, kind of what we talked about before. How sharp are the corners? How clean is the surface of scratches and dings? How centered is the card? But even if all of those answers are, this card is really clean, it also depends on what a PSA 10 even sells for. If a PSA 10 of a card sells for $35, you're not going to pay $30 to get it graded. So like, we help you figure that out.
Right. Okay. So that's like, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if it's worth it or something. All right. So I'm just going to bring it on, guys.
Yeah.
Yep. He's got it stacked at it. I'm like, best way to just find quite a few of them instead of just one or two, right? Which we talked about before. So,
and our whole team knows how to help with that. Unless they're a new employee who's still learning some of the ropes, grading, like we have, there's always someone in the building who knows enough about grading to tell you about like the condition of the card, and then also who is able to check comps and say, when this is a PSA 10, it sells for $100, so maybe it's worth sending in.
Right. Did I see two Mondays extended
We're
hours?
Open Mondays now.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So
open on Mondays from 2 to 7. So
all right.
We're open every day of the week. There's no more people pulling on the door by accident on Mondays.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's always great to hear when you can expand hours to that too.
Yeah,
so.
The summer is great for, there's a chance that we go back to Mondays, closed during the, fall or winter. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But, we've been able to grow our staff and make sure that we have enough people in the building at all times. So, we might as well be open on Mondays and serve the customer base on Mondays as well.
Right, exactly. So one topic that you kind of brought up, checklists.
Yeah.
And such.
Yeah, so checklists. Let's talk about it. So when you, any of you listening, you open a box of, let's just say, Topps Chrome football. The megas are out right now maybe on shelves, probably not on shelves anymore. Probably all cleared out. But if you pick up a Topps Chrome mega and you pull a cool card, you're kind of thinking like, oh gosh, like what, is this common? Is this rare? Is this worth something? Is it not? Before you jump to the sort of like looking it up for comparable sale prices, because maybe there's not a lot out there yet, you can start looking at the checklist, and subsequently you can look at the odds, the pack odds from Topps. So if you look up any set and you just, like for example, I'll do it with Bowman Chrome. I've got this Jalen Brunson. It's this is an insert where if you pulled it, you might think, whoa, this is cool. Is it rare or is it common? I don't know. This is a brand new set, Bowman basketball. You can just type in Bowman basketball checklist and then make sure you're pulling up the right year. And once that's pulled up, you can then see the checklist of like the inserts, the players that are on autographs, the different types of parallels of those, right? And you can sort of come to the conclusion that this is a pretty common insert.
Okay.
Not worth a ton. Pretty cool though.
Yeah.
So basically these are like hobby shops. It's like Brunson's card shop. You know, it's is the insert. The Big Apple Collectibles is what it says.
That is a cool looking card. Yeah.
So like, you know, there's a lot of confusion sometimes of like whether or not what you've opened is rare. If you then, you know, if you want to take it a step further, you can go check out like the pack odds. So like maybe it says 1 in every 10 packs, there's one of these or something like that. That'll give you a decent idea of how rare it is. To use an example with like a full sort of set of cards of what I mean when I say parallels, I'll kind of jump in a little bit more here. More Tyler yapping.
Hey, keep going, man. I'm learning here too. So
like this is a Bowman Best Baseball is a really cool, fun product. This is a base card of Jackson Churio, maybe worth 50 cents to $1, something like that. Base cards are obviously the most common. You'll see there's no like reflective sheen to it. It's just a regular base card. Whereas, you know, this is a refractor of the same card.
Okay.
So refractors, they'll have a shine to them. They'll be reflective. That would be sort of slightly more rare than a base card, still pretty common. From there, I'm jumping to Luis Pena here. Luis, because there's prospects in Bowman's Best, which is fun. This Luis Pena is a I believe it's called a wave refractor.
Okay.
And the wave refractor is once again slightly more rare than a regular refractor, but it's still not numbered.
Okay.
Still a normal, you know, pretty normal common card. But when I jump to a couple of Jesus Made Bowman's Best numbered cards. So there's different colors for different numbers in every set, which is where the checklist comes in. You can check that checklist and see that this would be like, I believe it would be light blue parallel. And I can double check this when I go to the checklist, right? But the light blue parallel of Jesus Made in this set is numbered to 199. You can see the numbering down here where my finger is. It's going to be really hard for the audience to see, I'm sure.
I can see it right there.
You can?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
good. So, you know, in this one right here, which is the Mini Diamonds refractor, is numbered to 299.
Okay.
So there's different numbered amounts. So that means that's one of 299 of that specific card. This right here is what's called an insert. Inserts are...
That's a cool looking card, though.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
The inserts can be pretty common, just depending on whether or not they are a short print, a super short print, or they're highly, you know, or they're common. And that comes down to, you know, that check or that those pack odds. So when you see cards selling for more than you think they're worth and they're an insert like this, they're not a base card, they maybe got a cool design to them. Maybe it's a short print, maybe it's a super short print. Don't just trust that every eBay listing that says SP or SSP next to it is accurate, because people will put SSP next to anything. Okay. This is pretty common. I've seen plenty of listings of this card that say SP or SSP next to it. Don't just trust that outright.
It's interesting because I think, you know, I'll use my kid as an example. He might open up a pack and get that card and think, oh, this has got to be worth a lot because it looks cool.
Right.
You know, is that something that you kind of run into all the time?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people come in. I don't mind. We don't mind if you guys come in and say, hey, is this rare? Is this, you know, because like sometimes it is, you know, and like something like this Made is not crazy common, but it's still not a short print. Probably, you know, somewhere in between in those pack odds. Still worth, I think, $10, $20 or something like that. So it's not like something to shake a stick at. But like, you know, there's also like with inserts, it can also be that something is super short print, but then there's also a numbered version of it. Okay. Where it's even more rare. There's only 10 of it or only 5 of it. You know, I brought in this Giannis Kaboom.
I saw you post that one. I was like, oh.
So a Kaboom is a super short print. It's really hard to pull this out of a pack. This comes out of Revolution Basketball from last year. And this is super short print, but you can also pull the gold Kabooms, or even, if you're lucky, the green Kaboom, which is the 1 of 1. Gold Kabooms are numbered to 10. These are the greens are 1 of 1. A perfect example is that in the new Bowman Basketball that came out, they have super short print anime cards.
I think that's the one I saw with the television.
I was going to say,
yeah, so that's the one I was.
This is an anime that's the black refractor numbered to 10. You can see where my finger is there. So like it's not only super short print, but it's also numbered to 10. So this is a pretty big card. This is the shops. It is available. Stop it. No, but
it is a sweet looking card.
Yeah, it is very cool.
Yeah.
I love the art on that. But the reason I feel like every time I do this, I'm throwing so much info out. The idea is for you to understand that the checklist is there to guide you through that. When you go to the checklist and you go to inserts, there will be one that says anime, and then it'll say there's the base one that's not numbered, and then it'll say there's a black one numbered to 10, red numbered to 5, and then the superfractor 1 of 1, right? I believe there might also be like gold to 50. I can't remember what the total checklist is off the top of my head, but that's what the checklist is there for. Beckett is the one who posts the best, most accurate checklists. And you'll see those when the set releases, they'll have that checklist out. And if you really want to dive deep, you can go look. All you have to do is look up Bowman best pack odds, and then you can pull up a spreadsheet that Topps has created.
Okay. See, to be honest, when you first started talking checklists, I kept thinking about when I was a kid opening up packs and those checklists. And do they still do those?
There are a couple products that still do that, but it's not common.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in the day, the checklist was physically on a card that you would receive in the set.
And you were so disappointed, like, oh God, I got that. And
I know it's so funny, but the checklists are. From back then, some of them sell all right if they've got the right player on the front or something like that, because sometimes it's like a Jordan or something that's a checklist card.
Right.
So sometimes but yeah, the checklist used to be something that you literally check off when you got a player.
Yep.
So that's where that term certainly came from.
I want to go back to something last time we talked, because you alerted it to me on Twitter and X about, the values, coming out right away and really kind of diminishing quick here too. And the example you used was a Josh Allen card. Out there
and
too.
that first sale, so it was a Josh Allen blue refractor auto out of the new Topps Chrome set for football. And that first one sold for $7,500, I believe, which you can get a really nice Josh Allen rookie auto for $7,500, right? So like the idea that his, 8th year, whatever, how many years he's been in the NFL, you can get his like 8th year, auto for that much. Like that's too high. So like that caught the eyes of collectors everywhere, right? Immediately when that sale popped up, everyone said, whoa, that's really inflated. So I sent you the most recent sale. What was it?
It was like 1,100. Yeah.
So it had most recently gone for 1,100, and I still think there's room to drop. So like that's kind of what we mean when I was talking about that last time. The hype of a new set. If you pull a really big card, that's a good time to sell it, because you might get one of those really inflated sales. But if you're going to hold it, don't expect it to hold that value of those first couple of sales that you see after the set releases. And same goes for if you're buying. Buying immediately after a set releases, pretty risky business.
With this might be just something I thought of at the top of my head, but with the NBA playoffs going on right now and such, I know you're a big basketball guy in that. Is playoff time, where we could see like an increase in value in some like star players cards, like whether it's a Wembanyama or maybe Anthony Edwards with that series. Is that a time where, is it almost like a stock market where it fluctuates depending on the performance of a player in the postseason? Does postseason stuff matter when it comes to that?
It definitely does. And you can get burned playing that game because like you can buy a nice Jason Tatum and then the Celtics get eliminated, by the Sixers in the first round of the playoffs. That's a very specific example of something that I did. I got a nice Jason Tatum rookie auto, and then they were eliminated. So I thought they were going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I thought so too.
But anyway, so it's an interesting game to play. Where there's some like increase in the stars, but honestly, where you might see some really nice increases are maybe some of those like around the periphery type players. For example, Stephon Castle is putting together a really nice playoff so far. Obviously, they lost the first game against the Wolves, but his market is way up because Wembanyama is the center of attention. His market is already pretty darn high, so it's hard to bust through that even higher sometimes. Obviously, if he puts up 40, 15, and 10 with 6 blocks, his stuff's going to go up. But Stephon Castle has more room to grow. So something like that, you can certainly see that. Ayo Dosunmu. For the Wolves,
for the
right?
Wolves, yep.
After that 43-point game, everything went up, So it's those periphery players can be where the real value pops up, but yes, all those star players too, especially if it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander already has the MVPs and the championship now. His stuff will go up, but not like crazy. Whereas if Wemby wins his first championship, then we're talking like some pretty crazy increases in value.
Okay. So is Caitlin Clark card still up there in value too? I know
they're always up there.
Yeah.
They're a little bit down right now because of the off season and also the way that last season went with all the injury. And then like the preseason's been like a slow burn for most of these WNBA teams.
Right.
So it's still a decent time to buy Caitlin Clark. I think that, Caitlin Clark has one big game in the beginning of the season.
Right.
It's just going to go way back up and the hype's going to be right back to where it used to be.
Is there a big gap between her and like the rest of the WNBA in terms of card value?
Yeah, the closest would be Paige Beckers. People love new, and she was great last year. I don't think that the new class is going to have a ton of I don't think that anyone carries the weight of Caitlin or Paige in the new class. And when, A'ja Wilson is more of like we're almost bored by her greatness. She's Tim Duncan, she's
that's a great comp. Yeah.
like her market is good, but it's pretty consistent. It doesn't really change, even though she keeps stacking MVPs and championships. So like someone like an A'ja Wilson, I think is a great buy long term because, in the end, she might be the greatest ever, and I think that, I think if I had to take her, if I had to pick anybody in the WNBA right now to take, to be on my franchise, it's A'ja Wilson over someone like Caitlin Clark or Paige Beckers.
Does like pop culture matter in terms of card value? Because if we're talking WNBA, I think of like Sophie Cunningham. She's like all over, whether it's like for pop culture stuff. Does that value matter with card values too?
For sure. So Sophie Cunningham is a pretty specific example of like this really like charismatic, fun, woman who like does a podcast and like is really popular, right? And so her cards sell way better than her stats would indicate. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's, like Sophie Cunningham's market is probably sort of similar. I mean, I might be wrong here, but it's probably sort of similar to like an A'ja Wilson, certainly like at least way too close considering the talent gap.
Right.
So yes, pop culture certainly matters. I mean, there's like random guys in throughout sports as well, where like, something happens like DeMar Hamlin, like his market went crazy after he obviously like he died on the field and was brought back and like his market went crazy, right? Kind of weird thing, but like, or like Pat Tillman's market is really exceptional because he is, obviously considered a hero, right? And like, and a vet. And so like his market is always really incredible because, people are respecting his service. Right. So there's guys who, there's players that if they are in that pop culture circle, it'll certainly help them.
Okay. And then like with events coming up too, with World Cup, with soccer cards, does that, become more of a bigger thing in terms of like need maybe for customers and people trying or collectors and such? Yeah,
the last couple of months soccer's been going way up, and that has a lot to do with the World Cup. Also, coming into the end of the Premier League season and I think it's so the World Cup is huge for that. You'll see guys who, their national team probably doesn't stand much of a chance, but this is either their first time on the stage for them because it's every 4 years, right? So like I get my picks from my brother of like, he's a soccer coach and he, I get my sort of like, hey, who's the next like big guy coming up? And so like, there's I'm going to get his name wrong. But I believe his name's Arda Güler.
Okay.
I'm getting it wrong. He's Turkish and it's going to be his first World Cup, young player, rising star. And, so like I picked up a couple of his cards because he's going to be on that stage and, I'd like to see what happens with those cards with a young player like that who's so good. So,
right.
There's stuff like that where, soccer is when the World Cup is actually on the TV, you're going to see some pretty crazy sales.
That's what I was kind of wondering because, you're starting to see the build up for it, right?
Right.
I mean, the jerseys and the shirts and it's all coming out right now. And then, with the card market now too, I was kind of curious with a lot of these players.
We've never seen... I'm starting to call it. We've never seen a card market boom like the one we're in right now. And so like if I could make a recommendation to everybody listening, I do think that it is an awesome time to start looking at the football cards you want to target. Before a season starts is the best time to sell sometimes.
Okay.
So like, that said, obviously there's, if you would have sold your Drake May before the season last year, you'd be out some money because Drake May had such an incredible season, right? And it wasn't expected. But Jordan Love sold so high before last season. And even when he was playing well, his stuff came down a touch because it wasn't like MVP level good. Everyone's using their imaginations before the season starts.
Okay.
If you buy some football now and you sell it in August, you've got a good shot of selling at its peak or pretty close to it. So the pre-event, pre-season, that can be an awesome time to sell and probably not to buy.
With that too, or just something again that popped across my mind before I have to let you go here is do veteran, I say this like veterans, like an Aaron Rodgers, let's say, his products, and if he does come back and such, is that lesser value because he's been around the league and he's a veteran compared to maybe a Drake May, like you mentioned, or a Bo Nix or something like that? Does that matter in terms of the card market? Yeah, you have to be one of the greatest of all time for that. Like, for example, I saw a gorgeous Steve Young auto the other day, and it was like $200, and I thought to myself, that feels so low for someone with Steve Young's resume. Right. He's not one of the greatest of all time. He's just a great. And some of these guys, some of these card markets, if you're not Tom Brady, if you're not, but even Joe Montana's market is less than I would expect it to be, right? Right. But so it's kind of like if you're not Jordan, if you're not Brady, whatever, buying the young guys and hoping that they go up is really why the market is so heavy on young guys. Okay. Right. And Aaron Rodgers, we now know who he is. So the new stuff that comes out, especially because he's in a Steelers uniform, it's just not going to be hot. Aaron Rodgers in a Jets or Steelers uniform is not a hot commodity. If it's early 2000s, mid 2000s Packers stuff, then yeah, for sure, because he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame and he's going to be one of the greatest we've ever seen, and that stuff still has room to grow, but not the vet stuff that comes out. So it's kind of just maybe the younger crowd, if you will, kind of sort of thing. Is that more so for football or all across the leagues? All across sports. All across? Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's guys across all sports where you'll be puzzled as to why their market isn't higher. It's just how it goes. There's hype around certain things. People will pay way more for a Jackson Dart autograph right now than they'll pay for a Joe Montana one. And that's for me, that's like, wow, yeah. No, it shivers down my spine. Yeah. So that's just the investing nature of it. Gotcha. Right. If you are a collector, purely a collector, you're going to pay more for that Joe Montana. No doubt. Oh yeah. It. Yeah. So last one here too, because with Trout having a good season now too, with home runs. I mean, is that kind of? I have such a sad story about that. Okay. So Trout is one of those guys that is one of the GOATs, right? So with his struggles over the last couple of seasons, it's been his stuff has kind of steadily declined a little bit. Obviously, it doesn't change his path to the Hall of Fame, right? We, one of our employees had a Mike Trout card that was graded, a PSA 10, a rookie card, worth a decent amount, right? And he was looking to move it. I decided I would, buy it from him and then try to flip it, and I told him the plan, and we talked about it, and I only made maybe a couple $100 off of it, right? It was nothing crazy, but he and I have been kind of keeping an eye on. That was before the season. So that card has, it's not nearly doubled, but it's 1.5 to 1.7 times more than what we, basically both of us effectively sold it for. And we've just been I told him, I was stop sending me these. I don't want to look at these anymore. But it's just so funny, if you're doing it in terms of buying, selling, flipping, you're gonna have plenty of those. You can't really look back. If you made a profit on it, or even if you didn't, it's gone. The card's in the hands of it went to a Mike Trout super collector who's gonna hold on to it. I was really happy for him. He had one of them when he was younger, and he sold it so that his family could get a camper. Okay. And so now he has it back again, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he got this card, because honestly, he'd probably be priced out of it if he tried to buy it now. So you can't really look back on that stuff.
But yes, it can certainly affect it when like somebody who's that great.
Right.
Like if Aaron Rodgers had an MVP season, I mean, his stuff would go up.
Okay, yeah.
No doubt about it. Trout
Right.
just hit his 11th home run. He's crushing it.
Exactly. So, oh, man, we could keep going on and on,
Sure
man.
could.
It's been half hour already just flying on by.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
you
right.
probably need a commercial break or something like
Yeah,
that.
we got to pay some bills. So, Ty, Slab Factory, again, opening on Mondays now,
Yep,
too.
open
So,
every day of the week. Just check our hours. And, if you guys, have questions for us on the checklist stuff that we that I just talked about today, feel free to stop in at the shop, ask questions, or I'll probably even post kind of I'll post a little like a checklist tutorial on our Facebook page.
Awesome. Even better. So make sure you're following Slab Factory on Facebook and Eau Claire, too. So, dude, appreciate it,
All right,
man.
thank you, Dan.
You got it.
Yep.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Big thanks again to Ty from Slab Factory coming in every couple weeks or so for our Inside the Hobby segment. If you ever miss any portions of that conversation, our convos with Ty will be up on the Man Cave podcast. But don't forget, though, too, we've got the Dan Kasper Show podcast. So every hour of the program up on that podcast. So that is a separate podcast from the Man Cave podcast. You got the Man Cave podcast and the Dan Kasper Show podcast. But if you could, please be a friend, tell a friend. Follow, subscribe to both podcasts, and that's on Apple, Spotify, and such. And plus the YouTube station, the Man Cave TV. We've got Zach and C-Bomb and apparently Clint Eastwood's over there, The Hill and Barb and everybody. So join in over there and such, and make sure you follow that click that subscribe or follow button on YouTube. Not for me. It's for my kid. He wants for the Kid Cave to get a bunch of subscribers and such. So do it for the kids, everybody. All right? Do it for the kids. But let's kind of reset here because we do got to take another break here. We got to catch up on some breaks here. But here's the gist of what I want to hear from you. Your Mike Star Markets, am I wrong? I'll get to mine coming up here in just a sec. What's a sports opinion? What's a sports take? What's a sports thought? Where you'd be like, am I wrong? Am I wrong for thinking this? Your Hy-Vee game changers. Mine was Jackson Churio returning to the lineup, just to give you an example. Home runs for the Brewers. Is that the biggest thing that they got to fix, that they got to kind of... is that the biggest obstacle or biggest issue they got to fix in order to overcome, let's say, the Dodgers or get to the World Series in that? Packers-wise, depth chart just based off paper on May 6th. Is this roster good enough to go to the Super Bowl? That is or it's kind of contender, pretender. Contender, a Super Bowl appearance. Anything lower than that, even a playoff appearance, I'm going to classify as a pretender. Where are you at on that? Also, Taylor Jenkins, new Bucs head coach, is going to be talking to the media today. What would you ask him? And finally, if you want to win this Paul Molitor PSA graded 9 card, all right, PSA graded 9 card, 1988 Fleer. A lot of you have already done so. You have 2 options to do this. One, your favorite sound in the sports world. Your favorite sound. A lot of you going with sound bites, which is perfectly fine, but is it, kind of using the example of a basketball swish or the ball off the crack of the bat? The other one that you could chime in, your best individual athletic achievement, because apparently 23 years ago is when I hit my hole-in-one, according to the news article that's framed up in the studio here. For example, C-Bomb can never stop talking. Every time, if you've ever met C-Bomb, the first thing he will say is 2 things he'll say. C-Bomb will say, 1, I'm the guy that drove Devon House to Green Bay. 2, I won Class D slow pitch softball MVP, C-Bomb. Those are the first 2 things that C-Bomb will enter. If you've never met him before and it's the first time, those are the first 2 things that he will tell you. Not even kidding. Maybe a little bit. But so hit me up. All right. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but let me know. Okay. Well, we got to play a little catch up here. So take a quick break, but we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Summer is right around the corner, peeps, and that means it's time to freshen up your home from the ground up with Carpet City Flooring Center. Whether you are hosting backyard get-togethers, opening the doors to family and friends, or you're just ready for a seasonal refresh, new flooring can completely transform your space. From soft, comfortable carpet to durable luxury vinyl and beautiful luxury vinyl planks, Carpet City Flooring Center has everything you need to bring your vision to life. It's not just about the looks. It's about the quality that you can count on and expert guidance every step of the way. Their team is ready to help you find the perfect fit for your style, your needs, and your budget. So before summer officially kicks off, make sure your home is ready to shine. Stop on in to Carpet City Flooring Center today and take the first step towards a space that you will love all season long. We've got... we've got JB saying sound, wood, bat, crack of the bat, ball popping in the catcher's mitts. C-Bomb saying best athletic achievement personally was leading the Big Rivers in sacks my senior year as a middle linebacker. I grew up in Eau Claire. My freshman year played at North, graduated from River Falls, so getting a sack on Gabe Nelson in a win against North at Carson Park was my favorite play in high school. So, but what is what are you talking about, Steve Mom? Okay. I'm trying to see what he's jibber jabbering about on the video stream. So, but hey, keep those coming, and I'll enter you in for this Paul Molitor PSA graded 9 card. Your favorite sound in sports, or your favorite, or your, in your opinion, your best athletic achievement. So, all right. Keep those coming. Hit me up on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Or you can, again, join in on the Section 105 chat room. So, Mike's Star Market, am I wrong? Give me your sports opinion. Give me your sports take. Give me your sports thought, where you would say, am I wrong? Am I wrong for thinking this? Am I wrong for saying that? Am I wrong? All right. We all got that sports opinion. We all got that sports take. So share it with the rest of us. Share your wisdom with the rest of us. I'm assuming this is yours, Steve, from a little bit earlier. Let me bring it up. I'm assuming this. Well, I'm gonna say that it's, otherwise it's very random. C-Bomb said the MLB has gone soft and pitch challenges are no good. It's a game played by humans. Should be umpired by humans. Gone are the days of catchers getting steamrolled hard slides in 2 seconds. MLB was fun when you had Pete Rose running over catchers in the All-Star game. The game used to be so much more gritty, all of the analytics. So, okay, there you go. That tells T-Bomb's wrong if you think he is wrong on that. Ooh, I like this one. I didn't even think of this sound here. Because I got to take another break here, and I want to get to my Mike Star Market here. But Aaron with a good one. I didn't think of this. The favorite sound is sneakers on a basketball court. That is a good one. Nobody has said that one yet, but yeah. When you got the good traction on there, not that the film or the dust on there where you're like sliding all over the place either. That good old traction, yeah. When you're watching a game, too, on TV, like March Madness, you can hear it even coming through. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. I like that one. I like that one, too. So, all right. Got to take our final break. We are playing a little bit of catch-up and such, so let's do that. And then I will get to my Mike's Star Markets. Am I wrong? But please send me yours, too, and your Hy-Vee Game Changers. All right. Final break for the third hour. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. All right. We have caught up on breaks, and we just got a few minutes left to the top, and then we're into that final hour. Final hour for you to chime in with your favorite sports sounds or your favorite or your best individual athletic achievement for you to get this Paul Molitor graded 9 PSA card. All right. So text it on over 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, or you can join in again on the Section 105 chat room. Am I wrong? Mike's Star Markets. All right. Am I wrong? What do you got? Send them on over. Okay? Send them on over. Am I wrong? So I'm going to go back to Jonathan Gannon's press conference really quick for my Am I Wrong? He was non-committal about who's the starters right now for the cornerback room. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for believing that I think Brandon Cisse is going to be the number one corner when by halfway through the season? He may not open the season as on the depth chart as number one. I think it's still going to be Keyshawn, but am I wrong if I were to put the chips in the middle that by the halfway through, not at the end, halfway through, Brandon Cisse is going to be the clear and obvious choice as the number one corner on this team? I'm putting a lot of stock into a second-round pick. I get it. I understand it. But I look at this group right now, and I think he's got the best traits, the best odds, the best possibility to be that guy. It's not Keyshawn Nixon. Keyshawn Nixon's not number one corner. It's kind of like the ace debate in Major League Baseball. Well, he's the number one starter for this team, but across Major League Baseball, he's not an ace. Keyshawn Nixon's not a number one corner. He may be on the depth chart for Green Bay right now, but it won't be that much longer. Am I wrong for believing that? Am I wrong for thinking that? Am I also wrong, though, for saying that's the position group I'm a little bit nervous about more than any other position group right now for Green Bay? Yeah. I just hope that that's not the group that holds this team back from getting to Super Bowl and maybe potentially winning that Super Bowl. But we'll see. We still got plenty of we got a couple months left of this offseason before we get to camp, training camp and such. So, all right. 3 quarters in. The final quarter is coming your way right after these quick news updates. We'll be right back after these few words. Fourth quarter kicking off right now on this Making the Turn Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out with us and participating in the program. We've been throwing out. So if you want to win this, okay. First of all, if you want to win this Paul Molitor graded card, you don't text what we're giving away. You gotta let us know what is two things. Your favorite sports sound in the world. It's just something simple. Yep, your favorite sports sound, and your greatest individual athletic achievement. Because 23 years ago, that happens.
Yes,
the hole in one,
the frosted tips
of young DK, and the famous publication of the Star News in Taylor County.
That newspaper still?
Oh yeah, Matt Fry is still. We were at a basketball tournament and he was there taking photos. Matt Fry still rocking and rolling. So
well, that's good.
Yeah, so
not a defunct newspaper.
Nope.
Cool.
Still rocking and rolling. 2 sections. I will say shout out to Matt because there's I'm assuming it's still the same way. Maybe it's not. But back in my day, Star News came out once a week, like Thursdays, I think, Wednesday nights, Thursdays. One section was pretty much the news. 30 other pages, separate section, all sports. And Matt Fry was the only sports guy doing it. That guy putting on miles, and he's still getting it done. So shout out Matt Fry. Yeah. I mean, for local sports, that dude is still grinding out.
Man, local sports, that does keep happening. So.
Yep. Yeah, but like you had one section that was the news, and probably the same amount of length, all local sports in Taylor County.
Very nice.
Yep. But we've got Mike, we also do a Mike Star Market. This is from another Mike. Am I wrong for feeling that the umpire in baseball should have an earpiece in to know what pitch is coming? Wouldn't it help them to stay on a pitch all the way in? If we are changing with the times, why not give them the best advantage to make the correct call?
Wow.
I guess I never thought of that. The only thing I would question, would that already kind of sway the pitch for them? You know what I mean? Like, what if they're like, okay, 4-seam fastball's coming. So you're expecting that to maybe, come in a strike zone. And what if it's close? What if it's, you know what I mean? Like, does it already kind of influence
it could
the call that you're going to make?
I'm concerned. I mean, but now that's a bad idea. Like, it might be. I'd have to think through this.
Yeah,
a little bit more too.
I've never heard that before, but that's interesting.
I'd be a little concerned that it might affect either how the umpire positions themselves a little bit, and how every team is looking for every nuance. They go, see, the umpire tips his call a certain way. Probably not, but there could be some. I think maybe more concerning is too heavy of a word, but that an umpire might be predisposed to call it a certain way because they know a certain pitch is coming. If they know that pitcher has a tendency to do a certain thing with that pitch, and they're automatically going to call a strike, and that could actually backfire the other way, or a ball. But I know we do have ABS that'll take care of some of that now.
Right.
But I don't know that that's the worst. I think that might be a decent idea.
I'd have
to think that through a bit more because I see the good part of that. Like, if they know it's coming a certain way, how to. You should. The ideal is. I think this is what he's getting at here. The ideal is where it's going to position. You can call it a strike or a ball because you go, okay, this ball is going to take this path. Oh, it came outside. That's definitely a ball.
Right.
Came inside. So that's the plus. That's good.
I got to think about that one. That is, I've never heard that. So that's a good one, Mark. Or Mike. Thanks for sending that one over. So we'll throw it out to the rest of the listeners.
It makes me think a little bit more about this. Maybe.
John says, my favorite sound is the crack of the bat on a home run ball. Mark says, favorite high school memory, Durand. Okay, he's got a few, I think it looks like. 49-yard reception against number 1 lacrosse Logan. Getting a hit at Carson Park is stealing second in the second sectional finals against Powerhouse Eau Claire North. Marty says, sound of the golf ball coming off the club. 55-yard interception, return for a touchdown, breaking tackles, and diving in the end zone. All right. Zach also says, am I wrong? The Packers will have the best defensive line in the league by the end of the regular season. So continue to send those on over as well. Am I wrong for thinking the Wild are done?
No, I don't. I don't think so. Like, I think they'll get a win, but this Colorado team is a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I wrong for thinking you already won by beating the Stars?
Kinda. I mean, yeah. That like, I was a little surprised by how many other Minnesota sports people I follow were like, "Wow, this is what winning feels like." Like, I guess that kind of speaks to the lack of winning across their major teams of late. But I was like, yeah, I mean, yes, but that's the first round. And I know it's also against the former North Stars. That added a whole nother layer to it. And then the competitiveness of that series, too. So it kind of was, I think, like the Wild have a better path to winning the championship this year than, say, the Timberwolves. We'll just do A and B because they're at a comparable part of their playoffs. Because with the Timberwolves, you still got to get past San Antonio. I know you're up 1-0. I always thought San Antonio was a much tougher route for the Timberwolves. And even Colorado, even having the best record in the NHL, I thought Colorado would be not as difficult, shall I say. Of course, now Colorado's won their 2 games in Colorado. And as much as I know, I've said before, and you go look at the stats, the Wild weren't that great at home. They still can win their home games and go on the road and win. I do wonder if John Hines screwed up with the goalie switch. When, all right, well, let's see. Jesper Wallstedt got trounced. Let's go with Gustafsson. That didn't work. That might have been an overreaction, and maybe it did kill the series. But getting over that, I guess, I don't want to say it's a stupid stat, but you remember why I said that about the Twins? They couldn't win a playoff game, and it was kind of a stupid stat, but it's a real stat. Wild got that out of the way. I mean, the reality is they're probably done. I think you're right. But we'll see. I mean, crazier things have happened.
Am I wrong if the Timberwolves advance to the NBA Finals, not necessarily win, but advance to the NBA Finals, and a big part is because of Anthony Edwards returning from that injury and that play that is Anthony Edwards on the echelon as the number 1 player in the NBA.
Ooh.
Because he'd have to go through the Spurs, and then let's just say it's either OKC and Shai Gilgeous or LeBron Lakers, and which, by the way, Ric Flair's calling out Luka for not playing. So if Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, is calling you out, dude,
you got a problem.
Get your stuff together and get out there. Ric Flair would wrestle right now, probably.
He probably would.
Somebody would let him.
Yeah.
So.
Luka Doncic, soft. Okay. The scenario you laid out is basically, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be Anthony Edwards every single night. We're not talking like maybe.
I feel that
LeBron 07 is maybe.
It's giving me, not saying it's going to turn out this way, but it's almost giving me the vibes of Giannis when they won that championship. The injury wise, and then coming back earlier than what you were supposed to. And
that's better than LeBron 07 because that was LeBron and nobody else,
right.
Quote unquote. Whereas the Bucks in 21 were quite clearly a really good team. Gosh, I could see that if they can get through. They're obviously not afraid of the Thunder, even though I think the Thunder would beat them. Like I still think San Antonio wins this series. If the Wolves get past them, I think Oklahoma City beats them. Like we're not calling them favorites, but I could see where that happens. I think there's 2 elements to Minnesota beating San Antonio. One, Anthony Edwards, not solely because the way the Wolves have gone the past few playoff seasons, there's like a few players that will have really good nights. There's like a good Julius Randle night. There'd be a good Jaden night. Now you'd probably have a good Ayo night. I know Ayo Dosunmu's been a little injured of late, but he might have a good one. Bones might have a really good night in there somewhere. But it's mainly going to be Anthony Edwards. Obviously, he's the best player. They also have to avoid having some horrible nights. Julius Randle. He's probably the one most likely to be almost a net negative out there. But part of it's also Victor Wembanyama. Did you see the stat about his minutes per game?
No.
It was like, I don't have it in front of me, so I might have a couple facts wrong in this, but the essence of it was like, I think it was like 33 minutes per game, regular season, 40 minutes per game, postseason.
Okay.
He hasn't had this level of conditioning. Big if on this, if he tails off as these playoffs go along, that could be the explainer. He's playing a lot more. That wears a player out. Anthony Edwards is a little more fresh if you think about it. With all the injury time he's had, he didn't go 82 straight games. So if like Wemby's not going to set another blocks record. Say what you will about some of them being goaltended. Whatever. That was a record. It's not going to happen again. Between those two, that's where you could see this happening. And if Ant goes off, let's remember, though, he still wasn't 100%.
Right.
A couple nights ago.
Right. Well, I mean, he came off the bench for crying out loud. So, I mean, they're still trying to kind of preserve him a little bit. So,
limping a little bit. So before any of us are like, he is going on a run. He could also get injured in Game 3, and he's done for the rest of the playoffs. But if he does go on that kind of a run, if he leads them to a win over San Antonio and a win over Oklahoma City, and at that point, if they've gotten that far along, I might favor them in the NBA Finals because no one in the East is blowing me. New York probably is the closest to a, oh gosh, kind of team. But I'm not even sure. The Knicks have their down moments. Would he be number one in the NBA at that point? I would I wouldn't necessarily call him the number one NBA player, even if he did that. I would probably, though, say that scenario puts him maybe more historically great than currently great. This is a weird thing to try to assess something that hasn't happened and then make it historical. But you go on a playoff run like that, you bring your franchise to a first championship, that's like the thing we talk about like 15, 20 years from now. Remember that 2026 run from Anthony Edwards right up there with Giannis 21. Think of some of the other all-time great playoff runs.
So really quick before we have to take a break, because we throw this out there once in a while, and it feels like it was a couple years ago. Anthony Edwards already with that playoff run. It was like, oh, he's the next coming. Now
it was looking the Jordan thing, Charles Barkley's reaction, and then you had some off games. After
this series bigger for legacy, Edwards or Wembanyama?
Gosh, that's so early with Wembanyama.
It is, but I mean,
we do that. Okay, and that sucks. We should stop doing that. We're going to be all like,
because
Wemby's
we want winners right away. For
I
these
know,
great players.
Come on. I think
it's still Edwards because I think there's time for Wembanyama.
Okay. The right answer, and this is not the final one because this defeats the purpose of the exercise. The right answer is neither. Because Wembanyama's too young and Anthony Edwards is somewhat injured. Okay, so you can't. This is not a mano 5 to 10 years in their career, both at their peak kind of thing. You could probably say that about a Jordan Malone thing.
Okay, so how about maybe let me rephrase this.
Okay,
take away the thunder out of this. What does the NBA want in the finals? Wembanyama or Anthony Edwards? The next coming of Anthony or the international superstar of Wembanyama?
Well, okay, with the seeming international obsession, it's Wembanyama.
Does the NBA need it to be Edwards? That face, that Jordan, that LeBron, we need that next, GOAT.
Okay, so, and I do want to try to answer the legacy.
Or how about this?
Either one.
What does America want?
Ooh, okay. There's like 3 elements.
Yeah.
Okay. First, I think I can answer the first one, legacy one. I think it's more on Edwards because he's had more opportunities.
Let's have the same energy. He needs to leave Minnesota to go to a bigger market.
And we might start to get that. I'm a little surprised that has not started. I figured that would have happened even 2 years ago, and it hasn't. Which makes this whole Giannis Bucks thing seem even stranger. But anyway, back to who wants what. I think, you're going to relate to your own folks a little bit more. It's a natural tendency. So I think American sports fans are going to gravitate more to Anthony Edwards because he's American. It's simple as that. As popular as Victor Wembanyama has become. And if you're that good and you're an international, it's not going to really matter. But between the two, the charisma of Wemby's got plenty. I mean, he's not the big fundamental out there.
Yeah.
Despite Tim Duncan's tendency to have the foul face. You know what I'm talking about. Still, he was pretty even-keeled. Wembanyama's got plenty more emotion out there. So that's going to get more attention. It can build up more fandom. But I think fans are going to want Ant a little bit more. I think the NBA would rather have Victor Wembanyama for two reasons. One of which is a little conspiracy-ish, but the other makes all the sense in the world. The first, like we said, it's an international thing. You have an international star doing well in the NBA. This ideally will help, especially with the whole NBA Europe thing that's happening. So, yeah, okay, that makes sense. You almost can't help it. Insert any American star, it's just not going to make a difference. The second, by pseudo-conspiratorial thing, and I don't know how big of a factor this is now compared to 1 or 2 years ago, the NBA seems to not want to emphasize Anthony Edwards. Notice how all, like, the fining, I mean, he's brought on a lot of it, too, okay? It's not like, what are you doing to me? No. He's acted out of line plenty of times. But it sure seemed as though the NBA was kind of picking on him a little bit more. They were fining him more. They were giving him less of the benefit of the doubt in foul situations, to the point where there seemed to be this undercurrent of, does the NBA not want Anthony Edwards to be the face of the league? Like he was, I remember, there must have even been like a story about that, but I felt like, I don't know if you caught that. Maybe I was paying more attention as a Timberwolves fan, but there seemed to be more chatter about that 1 to 2 years ago of Ant was ready to be that next guy. And the NBA kind of was pushing back on that. Are they over that now? Or do they still have, there's something that they don't, and I don't know what that is entirely. Are they concerned about personal life stuff, which has come up a little bit? But there's plenty of NBA players that have not the most clean personal life.
Right.
What is it? Are they afraid that he's going to do something that's way too out of bounds, and so they're holding back, and they figure, but Wemby's not going to be that problem. SGA's not going to be that problem. There are a lot of NBA stars. You've probably heard this in the umpteenth discussions of what's wrong with the NBA, that they're too polished. Notice that? Pick out most NBA players, and they kind of have the watered-down personalities we were complaining about Major League Baseball for a while. And it's not that at all. Does the NBA prefer to have polished top players? And so here comes a guy who's very much not that. And so they're reticent to promote him. Now, they're probably going, okay, so what is this going to mean? They're going to tip games against the Timberwolves for that reason? No, not to that degree. Say what you will about reffing, et cetera. But in NBA front offices, if you actually truth serumed them, I'll bet there's probably a fair amount that are like, no. We'd rather have Wemby. We'd rather keep it safe with SGA. Probably have Jalen Brunson in the Knicks. They probably rank the Timberwolves of all the remaining teams probably relatively low. Of course, they'll take the Lakers, obviously. I think so. I hate to say it, but I think that's still the case. I think Ant's going to have to go on a run, take over the NBA. He could take over the NBA playoffs, be that guy, and at a certain point, then the NBA would be like, all right, fine, sure, we'll go along with that. But I don't think they'd really rather it.
All right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. We're going to switch gears and get back to a little bit more baseball talk. The Brewers getaway day today, just a few hours from now, 12:15 first pitch. Off day tomorrow. Then they'll take on the Yankees. By the way, the probable pitchers for that Yankees series going all youngsters. Mizorowski Friday, Kyle Harrison Saturday, Logan Henderson on Sunday, according to Adam McCulvey. So, and you've got the Bronx Bombers coming to town too.
Boy.
So, but we'll take a quick break and we'll get back to some more baseball talk coming up after these quick words. dings, dents, or something more serious, hey, don't stress about it. Just head to Superior Auto Body. From minor touch-ups to major collision repair, they're your go-to team for getting your vehicle back to looking like new. With experienced technicians and attention to every detail, Superior Auto Body takes pride in doing the job right the first time. So when life happens to your vehicle, trust the team Eau Claire drivers rely on. That's Superior Auto Body, your go-to place for all of your auto body needs. So the mothership ESPN had a piece up this morning. One thing that must change for all 30 MLB teams. Brewers, it was hit more dingers. Twins, bullpen misery.
Yep.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Number one biggest thing they've got to figure out or fix?
I might be as good as some of them at this point, and I can't throw a baseball more than like 40 miles an hour.
That's bad. That might be even already kind of,
bad.
Tooting your own horn with 40 miles per hour. Let's get a radar gun.
Yeah, maybe 30.
Let's get the radar gun.
It's not going to make a difference. I might as well get an MLB pension while I'm at
let's
it.
Let's go to the Express game when they got the pitch thing over there, or the fair and that, and you can win a stuffy if you guess it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll throw my arm out again like I did last year for nothing because never mind, I won't go there. I would just say they violated the rules that were displayed, and I should have won.
Ooh, controversy.
Should have won that blow-up bat for my kid. Based off the rules that were posted.
You've got a revenge tour coming this year.
Hey, I hit 70 on that thing.
Okay.
Threw my arm out. But
Gonna hit 70 this year?
We'll go 65.
Okay.
And this is like all my weight towards it, not even proper form.
Don't want a torn ACL here. If we got Tommy John surgery coming up, this is not good for anybody.
Hey, that's you do what you do for your kids. Okay?
I know.
Yeah.
Got to stay in the game, though.
That might be my greatest athletic achievement. No, the hole-in-one is still up there. So.
Okay. Did you have frosted tips when you threw the ball?
No.
This summer, make it happen.
I should.
Yeah. Get the same polo with a T-shirt underneath. Recreate the photo.
I got that polo still.
Okay, good. We can recreate this.
It's in a tote in storage. I just saw it the other day because I was digging out my old slow pitch softball jerseys to show Hudson. I'm like, oh, there's the golf polo. So
nice.
Yeah.
Never seen the photo. I'm sure it's around online somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it is now. I just posted it.
Okay, good. Take a look, folks. We can do this.
Oh, man. So,
yeah, their bullpen sucks.
Oh, the AL Central sucks, too.
Just in general. That says something like, hey, our division sucks, and we have no shot of winning it.
Hey, maybe it opened up with the Tariq Skubal thing. Literally, nobody in that division in the AL Central has a 500 or better record.
Something will change at some point. It might not be till September.
You are 1.5 games out, and you are in last place. You're Twins.
I know. What the heck? And you ask any Twins fan, you got a shot of winning this division? They will answer no before you finish the question.
Mm-hmm.
No. What? This really is the playoffs? No.
So, it's May 6th. You guys going to be active at the trade deadline to acquire talent? No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, active at the trade deadline. Of course, we're going to trade away half the team again, right? I mean, not that I have to imagine the poll ads are like, sweet Joe Ryan actually wasn't that injured after all. We can get a whole bunch of minor prospects for him. Awesome.
Can we switch? Can we do a trade for a couple of Central teams? Can we put the Brewers this year in the AL Central? I mean, at least with their record, they would be in first place by a couple games instead of being 5 games back and in fourth place right now. I mean, we're back to the NBA thing here now with Eastern Conference. Less than 500 teams going to get into the postseason.
Well,
it's
the
a
NFC
7-9.
The NFC South is what's happening right now.
A 7-10 team's going to get in and win a division and get a home playoff game.
Is it just me, or is this happening more where we're having, disparity? I don't know that there's any reason for this. This is more just an observation. Like the NHL, where for the longest time, the top 3 teams were all in the Central Division. And it shook out eventually. It wasn't the case by the end, but yeah, you have these, everyone's above 500, everyone's below 500. It will take care of itself. We haven't reached the Brandenburg theorem of quarter assessment. That's still to come.
Next week.
It's coming
Next
soon,
week
yes.
is the first quarter. So
one of these teams has a shot to go on either a winning streak in the American League or a losing streak in the National League and make it look a little more even. But it will come eventually.
If you build it, they will come.
To be very baseballish. I still think St. Louis is going to tail off.
It'd be really nice if it starts today.
Understandably so. What did I read? Like their strikeout ratio is like really bad. Like their pitching strikeout rate. It's one of those stats, but it was one of those like pretty much every team that has that stat ultimately is not a good team for the duration of a season. They're way overperforming right now. I mean, they got some players that are performing really. Jordan Walker's doing great finally, but overall, no. They're gonna fade.
This baseball season so far, as we approach the first quarter, has been kind of fluky.
Yeah,
kind of nuts. I mean, you've got your traditionals of the Dodgers up there, the Yankees are up there, but I was going to say Oakland Athletics. The Athletics, first place by 2 games, the only team in their division with a winning record. Mm-hmm. And I know there was some.
Yeah.
I mean, for crying out loud, Hudson picked him to win the division before the season. He looks smarter than a lot of
young talent, to be fair.
And yeah, they tip of the cap. I mean, I don't know if they'll finish that way, but
they're set up really well.
Yeah. The one thing I was looking at the NL Central, the run differential, kind of a little surprising to me that the Reds are negative 24 and they're top 10 in home runs too.
There's some goofy things. Mm-hmm. Like certain teams that just aren't hitting home runs.
The Brewers are second best with run differential, plus 42, and they're second to last in home runs.
That's the one that's the one especially the metrics on the Brewers don't make any sense.
No.
Right now.
No. And that's, the Brewers was, not hitting enough home runs and such. And let me bring this back up that I talked a little bit about in the first hour. So this was a few days ago, but I had saved this thing. Let me where did it go here? But it was a win-loss. Why is it not showing up on there? Okay, let me do this. Bring it up on my phone here. But it was from Fox Sports. Did this baseball record for teams in the last 10 years, regular season and in postseason. Okay? So MLB record since 2016. Dodgers are number 1. Mm-hmm. Houston's 2. Yankees are 3. Cleveland is 4. The Brewers are 5. Braves 6. Tampa Bay 7. Boston 8. Cubs 9. Cardinals 10. Now, of those 10, if you look at who at least made a World Series, all but 2. Brewers have not, and the Cardinals have not. However, if you go back just a couple more years, they did.
Right, 2013.
Right. And 2011, too. I mean, they were in there, too.
Their championship, yeah.
So, all right, Brewers win a lot of games when it comes to the regular season. Is their style of offense right now not conducive to winning in the post? And the Brewers there hasn't been that happy medium because it wasn't that long ago. All they did was what? Hit home runs, and every fan was complaining they don't play small ball. Now they play small ball, but now they can't hit home runs. So what is it? Why can't the Brewers win in the postseason?
I don't know that there's a thing. That's the thing, because they're not a single style team. Mm-hmm. You can think of some teams historically had their approach for years and years. And older example being like the small ball Cardinals of the 80s. The speed was huge. Well, and got them championship in 82 and 85, 87 World Series, et cetera, et cetera. The pitching of the Orioles in the 70s into the early 80s. Milwaukee's been all over the place. Okay, if there is a signature, we've talked about it a lot of times, it's developing talent.
Yep.
Maybe that's the answer, because if you can't blame it on home runs, and you can't blame it on pitching, you can't blame it on small ball, you can't blame it on defense, you can't. There's not one thing, because it keeps changing, and the result ends up being that they don't get to a World Series. Maybe it is they are a small market, and so they're being as resourceful as is possible. Tampa Bay did get to a World Series, yes. This is where we do the dreaded. In a COVID year, would it have happened if 2020 were normal? Maybe. We'll never know. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to give the Dodgers the 2020 championship, give full credit to that, we should. Well, then we'll give credit to Tampa Bay. Right. Milwaukee has not had that opportunity.
Right.
Milwaukee's come really close, though. I mean, they got to a Game 7 in 2018. So the other side of this is, no, they didn't. They didn't get there. They got about as close as is possible to getting there. Mm-hmm. This is where you do the whole horseshoes and blah, 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 blah. But that's true. So it's not like they get to the postseason and they're out immediately. They've had a lot of those instances of late. They finally got over that hump. I'd be more concerned if they were putting up really good records and flaming out really fast in the playoffs. Then there's a fundamental flaw with your team. If you can get to a Game 6, Game 7, and it doesn't go your way, it's almost the breaks of the game, to mix sports metaphors, but that's kind of what happens there. Well, kind of like what Game 7 of the World Series last year. Dodgers were this close to not having back-to-back championships. Now they can claim back-to-back championships because of what happened at the very end of Game 7. So I think the small market thing probably is the inhibitor, but they probably also need they need to have a couple more things work out for them. Honestly.
There is a lot of luck in sports involved, and I think people kind of don't want to maybe acknowledge that. I was thinking about this a little bit earlier. Sport, you think about this. I was actually thinking about this on my drive in. You're going to have more disappointment in sports. I mean, we expect perfection. There's the Lombardi quote. We're going to chase perfection, and knowing that we can't have perfection, but along the way, we're going to capture excellence, sort of thing. There is no such thing as perfect in sports, unless you have a perfect game, or you think about that, and I think we just, as maybe sometimes as fans, have this in our mind that we expect perfection every single time. But that's why we're so drawn to it, because the disappointment, your team loses, but you do have a little bit of that taste for winning once in a while, so you want more of it. It's an addiction, right?
Of course.
That's kind of where, whereas we're the Brewers fans, we've had a lot of success in the regular season, right? We've gotten that taste. So why are we so frustrated when it comes to postseason? That because we want a little bit more of that. We're so close at times.
You're not getting it.
We're not fully satisfied yet.
If Devin Williams doesn't give up the home run to Pete Alonso, they probably don't get past the 2024 Dodgers. Let's be real.
There's so many. I don't know if they do that, but you even go back to when the Nationals. If Trent Grisham doesn't allow that ball to go underneath his glove, Nationals probably aren't going to the World Series or to win the World Series that year. No. Not saying the Brewers don't win or are going to win it or anything, but there's so many butterfly effects.
So is there a fundamental flaw with the Brewers because of Devin Williams? No. He was pretty rock solid that year, and then that happened. Grisham's case, I'm trying to remember back when that happened. Was that expected? Of course
I don't think so.
Refresh my memory on that.
Because he was playing in right field, and I think Josh Hader might have been on the mound too, and that was the other part of it too. It was,
right.
But then you go to 2018. If who's the Dodger outfielder that doesn't make that catch in the outfield? That it was a yelly hit, and just sucked the energy out of that stadium. If that ball drops and there's a rally,
is that a fundamental flaw with the Brewers' approach to baseball? Probably not.
Right.
No, and in those cases, if you notice a pattern, maybe there is. I'm not noticing a pattern in any of that. Good luck finding one. So, the bigger picture is no, they've not gotten there. But I think there's more the nature of the sport. And then who knows? Maybe this is the year they go on a miracle run, even though they're in right around last place. Maybe they do go there. Cincinnati's performing poorly enough right now. Maybe they're going to find themselves well above last place pretty soon. But no, I really don't think it's that. They have a structural disadvantage, yes, but I don't think there is a fundamental flaw with the Brewers' approach to baseball that's keeping them from getting to a World Series, from winning a pennant.
Right. All right, we got to take a quick break, but we'll be back in just a few minutes. Do got to play a little catch up here because we got one more break before the top of the hour before we get to our picks where we've got baseball, we've got some hoops, we've got some hockey and all that good stuff here too. So, but kind of a sports related news item.
Ted Turner's died, age 87. The sports connection's obvious with the Atlanta Braves. Longtime Braves owner. Still picture him. I can still hear after the Braves won the title, and he's doing the He sounded like a cat, and Dave Letterman would kept playing that over and over again. Remember, he managed the Braves for a game.
I was gonna say, is he almost kind of sort of Al Davis?
Yeah.
Type sort of. That's kind of what I was gonna ask you since you brought it up.
I mean, that's true. So I mean, yes, the lead could be former Major League Baseball manager Ted Turner dies at age 87. That is a factual statement.
Did he win the game?
No, and then like Major League Baseball is like, stop. They intervened pretty fast on that. But also remember the other stuff, like he had the nicknames on the back of the jerseys. Thanks to TBS.
I was gonna say, I mean, when I was a kid, there was two teams that were always on TV. Cubs, because we had WGN. I can still picture the Braves promos on TBS. I can still picture them in my head.
I'm seeing them right now with that italicized TBS logo.
Yep.
Superstation TBS. Yeah, and Braves games were on all the time. I couldn't stand that after the 91 World Series, and then I'd be seeing Braves games. I knew they were already on, but they'd always be on. I'm like, oh gosh, these guys, I hated that team. They were on forever. I think Cubs fandom has been bigger because of WGN, and there's something more charming about the Cubs compared to the Braves. I think that did, for a while, turbocharge Braves fandom. I'm not sure how much it is today.
I think, at least just from some people I know, you ask them their favorite player, Chipper Jones is a big one. Probably because, I mean, this is the instructional video that gets results. Fred McGriff, Crime Dog, and that sort of thing. I mean, the
Tommy
Tom
Mansky, yeah. But yeah, he was a Brave. I could still hear Skip Carey doing the calls on games. Like that's because of Ted Turner. He got the Braves games on TBS. He owned the Braves. He made them more of a national phenomenon. For a while, it didn't work. 80s Braves, outside of 82 and maybe a little bit in 83, they were not a good team at all. Then they got really good. And, I mean, they were, even though they only had one title, I think I think probably the Yankees are the team of the decade. But that's more back half. The Braves, in totality, were always, like, they made almost every league. What did they make? Every LCS from 91 to 01, I think. 94 was the one exception, and, of course, there wasn't a season. I mean, Ted Turner ultimately stewarded all of that.
Right.
He was a complicated guy, but he was a legend, and I mean, let's be real, he'll be missed in his own inimitable way, shall we say.
All right, we got to take our final break here, and then we'll get to some picks coming up after these really quick words. Let's jump right into it. We've got picks to wrap up this program. Let's run through them. Let's start off with the NBA schedule. So we've got the 76ers taking on the New York Knickerbockers.
I'll take the Knicks.
I'm going to take the Knicks, too. And your T-Wolves taking on the Spurs.
I'll take the Spurs to even it up.
I'm going to go Spurs, too. So, Stanley Cup playoffs, we've got Montreal at Buffalo.
I'll take the Canadiens in this game, not necessarily the series.
I'm going to go with I'm going to go Buffalo in this one. Okay. We got Anaheim taking on the Vegas Golden Knights.
I'll take the Ducks.
I'm going to take the Ducks to even it up, too, I think. So, all right, baseball schedule for today. We got quite a few games. We've got Toronto at Tampa.
Tampa Bay.
I'm gonna go Toronto. Let's go with the Dodgers at Houston.
Dodgers.
Padres, Giants.
Pods.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Pods too. White Sox taking on the Angels.
Any more home runs from Murakami? I'll take the Sox.
Yeah, I'm gonna go White Sox too. Braves, Mariners.
Oof. Braves.
Braves for Ted. Athletics at the Phillies.
Take the Phils.
I'll go with Phillies too. Baltimore, Miami.
Marlins.
I'm gonna go Marlins too. Boston, Detroit. Sonny Gray, Jack Flaherty.
Ooh, okay. Red Sox.
I'll go Boston too. Minnesota, Washington.
Sure, why not the Twins?
Bailey and Miles.
Oh, wait, Bailey Ober?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Nationals.
Let's go Rangers and Yankees.
The Yankees.
Yankees.
For John Sterling.
For crying out loud, can the Reds beat the Cubs?
No.
Yes. Cleveland at Kansas City.
I'll go with, the Royals are a little better of late. I'll take Kansas City.
Go Royals. Mets, Colorado.
Mets.
And then Pittsburgh, Arizona. Paul Skeens.
I'll go with the Pirates.
And then finally, Milwaukee versus the Cardinals. Brandon Sprout, Andre Ponte.
Cardinals.
Okay.
I was going to say Brewers. Sprout's got to figure it out a little. Sprout's got to figure it out. Sorry, Sprout's got to figure it out a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to go with.
And the Cardinals will slip.
No, I'm going to go Brewers because I think Brandon Sprout is going to have a really good game.
Are you a
bold statements?
You are a believer. You're a Sprout believer.
I think he's got tail. It's just
he does. He's been really underwhelming to start. I'm not giving up on Sprout. No, but he's in a rough patch.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, all right, that's our picks for today. So we powered through. I was a little worried we were going to get close to that timeline, but you did good.
You still got 2 minutes to go.
We do. Final thoughts.
Now what?
Are you going to? I mean, you being the big soccer fan, I got to ask this: World Cups in our country, are you going to check out any of those?
No,
I see that hotel bookings are far below expectations.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what was there? There was a look at what was it? Bosnia-Herzegovina versus was it Qatar in Seattle, and right now it's still triple-digit ticket prices, and someone was like, "That's not going to hold." I wouldn't try to get a World Cup ticket if I were going right now. I'd wait until late. They'd really have to be closer. If it were in the Twin Cities, like the whole NFL draft almost certainly coming there, like, okay, that's close enough. I'm considering going to that. If the World Cup were at US Bank Stadium, I would consider going to one of those. Like if you could get to that local enough. After that, then it gets a little tougher to figure. And this is where you insert, what are gas prices like this summer, blah, 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 blah. I don't think I would be going to one of those games. Because what's the closest?
Kansas
City. They've been renovating the stadium. It's going to look weird.
I think it might be Kansas City.
Yeah, I've driven to Kansas City before, but that's a long ways to go to see.
Yeah. Well, it mentions here Kansas City hotel bookings for June and July are behind a normal June and July.
Yeah, now maybe that would be an opportunity to go there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Try out another barbecue. Gates is what I tried the one time I was there, and there are plenty of good barbecue options.
I got to travel more and experience
the
bars. I just don't know when I'm going to.
You got to go further west. That's the thing. You don't go west. Like literally anywhere.
West.
Go to Fargo. Like, that would still be west, right?
Oh, gosh, yeah. The furthest west I've been is Minnesota or Iowa.
Yeah.
So
Go to Sioux Falls. Sounds
I want to go to Colorado and Montana.
And
And Washington and Oregon.
Montana's pretty, but driving through that, it's long, beautiful.
Yeah. All right, Brewers, 12:15, radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Check it out. Same place, same time tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Talk to you then.